Rebirth, woke up with a wife. I have come back. Chu Lang lay on the hospital bed, picked up a mirror, and looked at his own reflection, a little dazed. Though his head was wrapped in bandages, he could tell it was his younger self. Before he fell asleep, he had been a formidable business tycoon, about to preside over a global business summit. But upon waking, he realized he was back 20 years in the past. The bizarre occurrence made even Chu Lang's battle-hardened heart race with excitement. Xiao Wu, are you feeling any better? It's just a little debt, yet they beat you up like this. So ruthless. The door opened, and a graceful figure appeared in Chu Lang's line of sight. Her hair was long and flowing, her body full and alluring, with a narrow waist and a shapely chest. Her legs were slim and toned, and she wore white high-heeled sandals, exuding an irresistible beauty unique to young women. Big sis. Chu Lang looked at the woman before him, lost in memories and stunned. Chu Lang had 4 older sisters, all of whom had grown up with him in the orphanage. Later on, he fell into the trap of gambling. His eldest sister, Jiyu Qingcheng, was originally the chairwoman of Qingcheng Group. After Chu Lang's gambling spiraled out of control, she continuously helped him fill the bottomless pit of loan sharks. Ultimately, she was deceived, and her company's funds were exhausted, leading her to end her life. Even when Chu Lang finally turned his life around 5 years later, it was too late. Using 15 years, he built himself up to be a titan in the business world, yet he could never repay his debt to Jiyu Qingcheng, one of the people he owed the most in his life. Chu Lang glanced at the calendar. Thankfully, he had returned in time, back to 20 years ago. Now was only the beginning of his descent into gambling, and his sister's company was still intact. Chu Lang had dragged his sisters down for 5 years. Now that he was reborn, everything would change. Xiao Wu, why are you staring at me like that? Is there something on my face? Jiyu Qingcheng touched her flawless face. No, big sis, you're cleaner than anyone. I'm sorry, big sis. I was wrong. I won't gamble anymore. This heartfelt apology had been delayed by 20 years. Hearing Chu Lang's trembling apology, Jiyu Qingcheng's face softened into a gentle smile. As long as you don't gamble. Chu Lang felt warmth fill his heart. His big sister would always greet him with kindness, no matter what, even though he had betrayed her trust countless times. Silently, Chu Lang made a vow: now that he was back, everything would be different. With 15 years, he had risen from nothing to a powerful figure. Now, with foreknowledge, he believed he could return to the top even faster and provide everything for his sisters. In this lifetime, he would not be alone. Then, Jiyu Qingcheng took out a bank card from her purse. Xiao Wu, there's 650,000 yuan on this card. It's all I could gather. Use it to pay part of the loan interest, we'll figure out the rest later. Chu Lang's heart swelled with gratitude, memories resurfacing. Big sis, no need. You keep the money. He knew that Jiyu Qingcheng's cash reserves had been drained by his loan debts. This money must have come from her pawning her car. Jiyu Qingcheng was taken aback. In the past, Chu Lang's eyes would light up at the sight of money, but today he refused it. Take it. I have the money. Otherwise, those people will beat you again. She forcefully placed the card in Chu Lang's hand. At that moment, a cold, displeased voice came from the doorway. Sis, you're coddling him again. Do you want him to drain you completely? A young woman in a white coat stepped into the room. She had stunning features, was even taller than Jiyu Qingcheng, and though her figure wasn't as curvy, the combination of her gold-rimmed glasses, lab coat, and long legs gave her a unique allure. Her expression was cold, the epitome of an ice queen. Fourth sister. Chu Lang and his 4 sisters had relied on each other growing up. This was his 4th sister, Shenqian. Years later, Chu Lang had been beaten nearly to death by debt collectors, and modern medicine could do nothing. Shenqian had gone searching for a cure, only to never return. After achieving success, Chu Lang spent billions searching for her to no avail. Though cold on the outside, Shenqian was warm inside. Another sister he deeply owed. Xiao Wu says he wants to change, Jiyu Qingcheng said softly. How many times has he said that? A dog can't stop eating garbage. Shenqian reprimanded him harshly, though she didn't take the bank card back. She still felt for her brother's suffering at the hands of loan sharks. Just then, Jiyu Qingcheng's phone rang. Hello, Secretary Zhang? Are the transfer documents ready? As Jiyu Qingcheng answered the call, she walked out of the room. But as Chu Lang heard the words, transfer documents, his heart skipped a beat. He looked up at the hospital's electronic calendar on the wall. July 12. If he remembered correctly, Jiu Qingcheng had recently taken on a major project that required funding. But because Chu Lang had drained her funds with his gambling, she had decided to transfer shares for financing. Later, Chu Lang discovered that this share transfer was a trap. Jiu Qingcheng would be tricked into signing a differential voting rights contract, transferring 40% of her shares. She would lose control of the company, be gradually squeezed out, and eventually face insolvency, leading to her tragic demise under pressure. That tragedy would begin in 10 days, on July 22. Chu Lang had to stop it from happening. If she signed, everything would be lost. Ordinarily, as a business giant, he would not be so hasty, but this was his eldest sister and the start of a tragedy. His concern clouded his judgment. He kicked off the bed covers and tried to stand. "What are you doing? Your head is injured, you shouldn't get up. Fourth sis, please move. I need to find big sis." Chu Lang pushed himself up but realized his mistake. Fresh from time travel, his memory wasn't fully restored, and the cool air reminded him he was completely unclothed. "Kid, you..." Shen Qian was about to scold him, but upon seeing Chu Lang, she froze in place as if under a spell. Blushing slightly, she averted her gaze, secretly thinking her little brother had grown up. Yet, her professionalism as a doctor quickly restored her composure. "Put some clothes on." But Chu Lang, ignoring his injuries, moved again, only to feel a dizzy spell. His body went weak, and he toppled toward Shen Qian. Shen Qian instinctively stepped back, but with her tall and slender frame, Chu Lang fell forward, and the two collided perfectly. Chapter 2, Rising from Rock Bottom. In his previous life, it took Chu Lang 5 more years to repent, but by then, his 4 sisters were gone. So this was the first time he truly felt the warmth of Shen Qian's gentle embrace, and his heart couldn't help but flutter. The scent of orchids and musk drifted into his nose, stirring his senses with an unfamiliar touch and fragrance, intensifying his dizziness. But he quickly remembered that he was facing his most aloof 4th sister, Shen Qian, and the heat in his chest abruptly cooled. "4th sister, I'm sorry," he expected Shen Qian to scold him harshly, but her voice was surprisingly gentle. "Xiao Wu, are you all right? Quickly, go lie down, you've injured your head, you shouldn't be up for long." Shen Qian's cheeks flushed, her legs tensed as her heartbeat quickened from the unexpected situation. Yet out of concern for Chu Lang's injury, she regarded it as an unintentional mistake and did not blame him, instead speaking softly with care. All right, after achieving success in his later years, he had encountered many beauties of various kinds, but he was never this flustered. His 4 sisters had always remained the softest, purest place in his heart, which brought him back to feeling like a young man again. Once Chu Lang was lying back in bed, Shen Qian, barely able to calm her racing heart, said, You should rest. I'll go check if your medicine is ready." With a hint of embarrassment, she turned and left the hospital room. Just then, Jiu Qingcheng returned, having finished her call. She looked slightly troubled. After all, having to sell the shares she had worked her whole life for was understandably upsetting. "Big sister, you're back? Did something happen?" Chu Lang tried to subtly probe. Jiu Qingcheng forced a smile. "No, you just focus on healing. Once you're better, come work at Sister's company, and don't gamble anymore." "Sister, about the company. I'll handle the company matters. Don't worry. Just as long as you stop gambling, sister will be satisfied." "All right." Chu Lang sighed inwardly. Jiu Qingcheng was always the gentlest with him, reluctant to say anything that might hurt his feelings. But he knew that she didn't believe he could be of any help. To her, Chu Lang was still just a useless gambler. Chu Lang thought, it seems I'll have to figure out how to help big sister overcome this crisis myself. According to my later investigations, she has a financial gap of about 43 million yuan, including my gambling debts. With only 1 week left, gathering over 40 million yuan would be a real challenge. Chu Lang clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with a determined light, just like when he first started his business years ago. It was a tall order, but for his sisters, he would do it. Even skyscrapers rise from the ground up, and everyone has to start somewhere, don't they? In 1 week, even without counting the gambling debt, his sister's company was nearly 30 million short of funds. He needed to plan a big project and use his foreknowledge to pull off something monumental. Ding! A news notification popped up on Chu Lang's phone. New virtual currency endcoin surges, world's richest man overtaken. Seeing this, Chu Lang's eyes narrowed slightly. As a top-tier businessman 20 years in the future, he knew this endcoin was a virtual currency based on their Bitcoin algorithm. Development began this past April, and by July, its price had skyrocketed to $70,000 per coin, with even more growth to come. In his previous life, he missed out on this tremendous opportunity, stuck in the depths of his downfall. But now, if he could seize this chance, he might just make his first fortune in a very short time. With his advanced knowledge of future networking technology, setting up an early-stage endcoin mining facility would be child's play. However, the investment in miners and electricity costs for the factory would be no small sum. At the moment, Chu Lang had no money. His sister's company didn't have extra funds either. Where could he get the startup capital? Ring, ring. His phone rang, and when he saw the caller ID, Chu Lang's eyes turned cold. A gleam of fierce determination flashed in his gaze. It was Mazi. One of Chu Lang's so-called friends. Mazi was the one who initially dragged Chu Lang into gambling, leading him down a path of regret and ruin. Mazi's real name was Li Xiao. His family owned a machinery factory that processed equipment like air conditioning compressors, and they were relatively well off. But, like Chu Lang, Li Xiao was idle, lazy, and dishonest. After his father cut off his finances, he became a casino broker, pocketing commission from Chu Lang's losses. They arranged to meet outside the gambling den the next day, and then Chu Lang hung up. By the afternoon, he had quietly snuck out of the hospital. Outside Furong Club, in Jiang City. This was a place Chu Lang frequented, a haven of all sorts of shady businesses. Lang, I consulted the West City's Wang Tai-sin today. This is a sure bet. You better hurry before someone else takes the luckiest spot. Mazi was a scrawny young man around Chu Lang's age, with a short stature and a shifty look in his eye. He hardly appeared trustworthy. Seeing this old friend, whom he hadn't seen in 20 years, Chu Lang sneered inwardly but outwardly looked troubled. Forget it, I don't want to. I lost too much recently and have no money left. Mazi's face fell. Just yesterday, he hooked up with a married woman who wanted a Cartier necklace in exchange for some companionship. The necklace was worth 20,000 yuan, so he planned on taking a cut from Chu Lang's inevitable losses, amounting to a 20,000 yuan commission. Simon, Lang. Drinking, women, it's all spending money. Gambling, though, has a return. You'll get back on your feet. Doesn't your sister have money? Just ask her. Hearing this scumbag bring up his sister, Chu Lang felt a surge of hatred. His sisters were his most precious weakness, and anyone who touched them had to face him. Chu Lang's eyes glinted with anger, his voice icy as he replied, she doesn't. Mazi, clueless and brazen, continued, she's so pretty. Just have her meet some bosses and keep them company. They pay big for a night. Boom. Chu Lang's eyes blazed with fury, his mind erupting as he reached out, grabbed Mazi by the collar, his veins bulging with a murderous glint in his gaze. Chapter 3, Mining Company. Hey, what are you doing, Lang? Don't scare me, Cathy said, looking alarmed at Chu Lang's unfamiliar and chilling demeanor. Chu Lang glared at Cathy with intense hostility. He knew that his descent into gambling, which had harmed his sisters, was partly due to his weak will, but this guy had played a huge role too. And now this scumbag dared to target his sisters again. Chu Lang felt a burning urge to tear him apart. However, after his initial anger, Chu Lang suppressed his impulse. The colder he felt inside, the calmer he appeared on the outside. With a frosty smile, he let go of Cathy and dusted off his wrinkled collar. Don't say things about making people drink with others. I'm afraid I might actually kill you. Oh, okay, Cathy stammered, sensing that Chu Lang had somehow changed. He suddenly seemed so cold and terrifying. But Cathy quickly pulled himself together. So, what's the plan? Cathy, have you heard about virtual currency mining? Oh, of course. Even the world's richest man has changed because of it. Not sure if there is anything like that around here, but I'd love to try mining. Do you know of any places, Lang? Chu Lang chuckled inwardly. This guy was as clueless as ever. He took a deep breath and changed the topic. Forget it, it's too far-fetched. My sister said that unless it's a legitimate investment, she's not giving me any more money. Cathy, are we brothers or not? Of course we are. I've stuck by you through every loss. No real brother would do more than I have. All right. Chu Lang touched his nose. If his business partners from his future success saw him doing this, they'd be terrified, knowing it meant trouble was brewing. Whenever Chu Lang touched his nose, someone was bound to suffer. Good brother, I need a favor to get a little money from my sister. What do you need? Doesn't your family run a machinery factory? Get me a building with high voltage power. Doesn't he have to be big, about 100 square meters? I'll fill it with some junk equipment and then trick my sister into investing. With her trust in me, I'm sure I can get a couple of million out of her. Right now, Cathy thought of Chu Lang as a hopeless loser, a man who knew nothing but gambling. But Chu Lang had a plan to make a fortune out of this and at Cathy's expense. Mining Coin required a lot of power, and Chu Lang's setup would consume over 300,000 yuan in electricity every day. 7 days. At $70,000 per coin, Chu Lang was confident he could make his first fortune within a week. And then he'd disappear, leaving Cathy with a hefty electric bill. Cathy's eyes sparkled at the thought of Chu Lang's sister's money, 2 or 3 million to lose, of which Cathy could get a hefty cut for himself. It could work, but I'm scared of my dad finding out. He doesn't let me mess around at the factory. No problem. I'll ask my sister to provide some money up front to help you settle things with him. Great. You're the man, Lang. The two exchanged sinister smiles, each secretly hoping to profit off the other. Once Cathy went to make arrangements, Chu Lang pulled up a map on his phone. It had been nearly 20 years since he last navigated Jiang City, and he had forgotten many things. After some searching, he finally located a mining machine company. Using some money from his eldest sister, he bought a sharp-looking outfit and then dialed a number. Hey, third sis. Little 5, what's up? Are you free now? If so, meet me at the Hui Feng building on Nanguang Road. I need your help with something. His third sister, Luo Hongchen, was once a celebrated actress. To save him from his mountain of debt, she had accompanied his debtors to dinners where she endured harassment before ultimately losing her life by jumping from a hotel rooftop. Recalling the tragic scene, Chu Lang felt an ache in his heart. Years later, after achieving wealth and power, he had avenged her by dismantling the lives of those who had wronged her, but it couldn't undo the past. Thinking of meeting her again after so many years, even Chu Lang's seasoned heart couldn't contain his excitement. Of his 4 sisters, if Jiyu Qingcheng was the gentle one, then Luo Hongchen was the indulgent one. The two were particularly close. Soon, Chu Lang spotted her in the distance. She had long, cascading hair, a gentle face with a hint of adorable baby fat, and a radiant smile that revealed charming dimples like a refreshing sip of juice on a hot summer day. Today, she wore a fiery red dress, accentuating her petite, shapely figure, standing on the street like a blooming rose. Third sis. You're even more beautiful than I remember. Thinking back to her last moments, bruised and broken, Chu Lang couldn't hold back and hugged her tightly. Her scent was sweet and refreshing, like her personality, making him feel almost intoxicated. Little 5, let go, people are staring. If you're going to hug me, let us do it at home. Aren't you embarrassed? Luo Hongchen felt her face heat up as she tried to push him away, her heart pounding with embarrassment. What's up? Just don't ask me for money. I gave you all my earnings this month, she laughed, then frowned slightly. I don't need your money, sis. I just need you to come with me somewhere. Chu Lang took a deep breath, collecting his thoughts. I don't gamble, little 5, she said, laughing. Chu Lang grinned, putting his arm around her shoulder. No gambling. But today, you can't call me little 5. Huh? Then what should I call you? Call me hubby. Her cheeks turned bright red as she shyly allowed him to lead her up to the office building. Chapter 4, The Wall Street Tycoon. Coin, a derivative of Bitcoin, has been on an impressive upward trend recently. Its nearly $70,000 price has cryptocurrency traders worldwide in a frenzy. However, behind this glamorous rise, there lurks a crisis unseen by most. Later, when Chu Lang became a leader in the global business world, he conducted in-depth research on the rise and fall patterns of Coin. The news today revived a memory buried for 2 decades in his mind. Today, a new person would rise to become the world's richest, as the federal bank, controlled by the Roth family, would announce its rejection of Incoin as legal currency. Previously, the federal bank's stance on Incoin had been ambiguous, but this clear position today would significantly impact the coin. Subsequently, Wall Street's financial faction Yellow Jackets, in alliance with the tech giant Elon Tech, would declare Incoin as their currency of choice for transactions, aiming to push its price higher once again. This sparked a prolonged period of price fluctuations for Incoin. If Chu Lang had a large amount of money now, he could seize this price movement to make a considerable profit. Unfortunately, he currently had nothing. The few hundred thousand given by his eldest sister was a drop in the ocean compared to the billions or hundreds of billions required to leverage such a massive capital flow. He would have to rely on digging for Incoin, accumulating initial capital, and first helping Gu Qingcheng get through her troubles. But this didn't mean he couldn't take advantage of today's series of international financial shocks to pull off a scheme of his own. Remember, once we're inside, whatever happens, stay calm. Act like you've seen it all. Got it? All right, but Xiao Wu. HM? Whose husband? What are you really planning? Just trust me. Ding. The elevator doors opened. This was Nanfeng Tech, the name of the mining rig company. Chu Lang walked to the front desk, his right arm draped over Luo Hongchen's shoulders. Hey, tell your boss to come out. I have a big deal to discuss with him. The recent Incoin surge had brought a lot of show-offs to the front desk, and the receptionist coolly replied, "The boss is busy with clients. He doesn't have time." Their boss only saw high-value clients nowadays, not just anyone. Do you know who I am? Tell your boss to get out here. Chu Lang feigned anger, while Luo Hongchen, following their arrangement, held him back, her face blushing. Let us go, honey. The boss is busy. We can take our business elsewhere. Calling Xiao Wu husband was still uncomfortable for her. The receptionist instinctively glanced at her and was immediately shocked. Aren't you Luo Hongchen, the actress? You recognize me? The receptionist was stunned. Anyone associated with a celebrity was likely influential. She had almost offended someone significant. She quickly stood up. My apologies, Miss Luo. I'm sorry, sir. Our boss, Mr. Wu, is in his office. Please, this way. Chu Lang chuckled inwardly but kept a stern expression. Smart choice. Led by the receptionist, they reached Mr. Wu's office. Within minutes, they were inside. Nodding to himself, Chu Lang thought it was a wise decision to bring his third sister. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even gotten to meet Mr. Wu today. Hello, Mr. Chu. I'm Wu Shangxi of Nanyun Tech. Are you here to buy mining rigs? Mr. Wu, whose business recently boomed from Incoin, had become a hot figure in Jiang City, making waves even beyond the province. Even Luo Hongchen felt nervous before this figure, but Chu Lang nodded calmly. Yes. I need 3000 S9 mining rigs. Do you have them? 3000 S9s. That one come cheap at LLB 30 million. We only offer cash on delivery at this time, Mr. Chu. I hope you understand. Once payment clears, the goods will be shipped. Luo Hongchen's eyes widened, her heart pounding. She was just an actress, with no knowledge of mining rigs or cryptocurrency, but the mention of 30 million almost made her gasp. Thankfully, her acting skills kept her composed enough not to give them away. Chu Lang quickly tightened his grip on her waist, signaling her to stay calm, then gave Wu Shangxi a nonchalant smile. 30 million? That's a small amount. But I've just returned from Wall Street, so I'm unfamiliar with the local mining speed, return rate, and electricity costs. All need to be evaluated. So, Mr. Wu, I need you to deliver the rigs to me first. My team will set up the mining site, and I'll settle in full within 7 days. Chu Lang was confident that, with his knowledge, he could build an advanced Incoin mining operation far more efficient than what existed. After selling the mined Incoin in a week, he could leaving huge electricity bills and Wu Shangxi's anger for Mao Li Xiu to deal with. Perfect. Har har har, Wu Shangxi laughed dismissively. Trying to scam me? I was already in this game while you were still in diapers. Back from Wall Street. Recently, I've seen dozens of so-called Wall Street returnees. Good day, sir. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Wu Shangxi wasn't a fool. He'd seen through Chu Lang's ploy. Initially, he assumed Chu Lang was some rich kid dabbling in the latest Incoin craze, only to realize he was dealing with a con artist. Chu Lang knew it wouldn't be that easy. He signaled to Luo Hongchen and then said to Wu Shangxi, "Since you want to work with us, goodbye." Just as Chu Lang stood up, his phone rang. He answered it, delivering a flawlessly authentic London accent, full of anger. "You idiots! I've already taken my assets back to Daxia. Shit! Hear that, with your pitiful threats. If you threaten me again, I swear by God, I'll take us both down. Don't believe me? Excellent. Incoin is propped up by your speculation. Don't think it's stable. I'm calling Mr. Roth of the Federal Bank right now and telling him to deny the Incoin legal currency proposal. Yes. Immediately. You moldy fools, you've pushed me too far." After hanging up, he dialed another number. "Hello, Mr. Roth. In my name, please deny the Incoin legal currency proposal within 2 hours. Yes, I've just learned that those Jewish yellow jackets have allied with Elon Group, aiming to further speculate on Incoin. This isn't good for the federal capital markets. You needn't hesitate any longer." Luo Hongchen, who knew foreign languages, looked at him in shock. Had Xiao Wu lost his mind? Federal Bank. Wall Street's yellow jackets. The tech giant Elon Group. Was he shooting a sci-fi movie? Before she could comment, Chu Lang took her by the waist. "Let us go, darling. They want to work with us, so we'll go elsewhere." Wu Shangxi, who had built his fortune from the ground up, didn't know much English. After Chu Lang left, he turned to his assistant. "What did that scammer say in that weird language?" The assistant, a top student, translated it for him word for word. Ha 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 ha! Wu Shangxi laughed until he was in tears. With acting skills like that, he'd be an award-winning actor instead of a con artist. But sir, his London accent was really authentic, the assistant noted. Still a scammer, Wu Shangxi scoffed, returning to business as usual. Chapter 5: Endless Business Opportunities. The Federal Bank announced that it rejected the proposal to make Endcoin a legal virtual currency. Endcoin plummeted by $3,000 and is still plummeting. From April to July, Entrecoin, which had been rising for 3 consecutive months, suddenly fell by $3,000. Wu Shangxi was stunned. Before this, some people might have thought that Endcoin would fall, but no one would have thought that it would fall now when it is at its peak. No one would have thought that this drop would cost $3,000. What is even more exaggerated is that it was the Federal Bank that took action. The order was issued personally by Mr. Ross, the head of the family. A large amount of negative news came out, making Entrecoin like a roller coaster with brake failure, fluctuating wildly downward. Wu Shangxi's assets also shrank by millions in an instant, which shows how devastating this drop was. He didn't particularly care about the millions of assets, but he seemed to have heard this news somewhere before. However, before Wu Shangxi could think carefully, another shocking news came out. The Jewish organization, WAS Party, and the world's richest man, Elon Group, jointly announced that they will use Bitcoin as a legal payment currency, just like Bitcoin. Please feel free to hold it. When the news came out, the whole world was shocked. Has the Federal Reserve and Wall Street officially gone to war? The downward trend of Entrecoin eased immediately. Even so, the global financial markets were shaken wildly following these two pieces of news. Wu Shangxi was reading the news when suddenly, the things that were forgotten in my mind suddenly come to my mind. Xiaomai. Xiaomai, come here quickly. Xiaomai. Mr. Wu, what's wrong? Xiaomai heard Wu Shangxi's anxious voice and hurried in. You said, that scammer. Mr. Chu, speaking in a London accent, was talking about Federal Bank Ross, the WAS Party, and the Elon Group. Xiaomai nodded in surprise. Yes, what's wrong? Come and see. Wu Shangxi pulled Xiaomai in front of the computer, and then this assistant, who could be considered to have seen the world, was shocked on the spot. The two looked at each other for a while. Tell me, what kind of great god have we met? I don't know either. I can influence the fight between two superpowers by myself. Oh my god, Mr. Wu, I can't guess his identity anymore. But I think we must get close to this kind of person. If he returns to Daxia, he will definitely bring a bloody storm. If we don't hurry up, there might be no one left. Oops. Bang. Wu Shangxi slapped himself hard. I was wondering why he spoke in a foreign language, but he simply said he didn't want me to know. Fortunately, you, Xiaomai, otherwise I would have missed out on $1 trillion. I just scolded Mr. Chu, it's bad. Where's Mr. Chu's business card? I have to call him quickly, otherwise he will find another company and we'll be screwed. However, Wu Shangxi didn't know yet. After Chu Lang went out, he covered his chest and prayed, there must be someone who knows foreign languages around that country bumpkin. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Oh my god, I was really scared just now. Xiao Wu, you are not gambling anymore but cheating now? Wu Shangxi from Nanfeng Technology is now in the limelight in our Shanjiang city. You dare to cheat him? Fortunately, he didn't make a fuss, otherwise none of us would be able to leave today. Luo Hongchen said with lingering fear while patting his towering chest. It has a unique and seductive posture. It's all right. Chu Lang had something on his mind, otherwise he would have been able to appreciate the scenery of Luo Hongchen. What do you mean nothing? Xiao Wu, who did you learn foreign languages from? It sounds pretty standard. Why haven't I heard you speak it before? Chu Lang later navigated the business world and competed with the world's top celebrities, and his spoken English had already reached a superb level. I learned it from listening to English songs, is that okay? Luo Hongchen nodded, worry rising on her pretty face. She stood in front of Chu Lang, raised her head, and said solemnly, Xiao Wu, I'll let you do whatever you want, but you must not get deeper and deeper into trouble, you know. If you don't have money, tell me and I'll help you find a way. I just hope you can turn back from your mistakes, okay? Luo Hongchen's tone was filled with worry. He was afraid that Chu Lang would engage in fraud in addition to gambling. That would be truly disastrous. Chu Lang recalled the tragic scene in his previous life where Luo Hongchen was forced to jump off a building for him, and he felt both pity and guilt. Holding Luo Hongchen's shoulders, he said seriously, don't worry, third sister, I won't gamble again in the future. For some reason, Chu Lang was so calm today that it was convincing. Luo Hongchen pouted and said, then I'll trust you again. As long as you don't gamble, I'll give you a reward. Speaking of reward, Luo Hongchen's eyes were as bright as waves when he smiled, as if he wanted to drown Chu Lang. What reward? Luo Hongchen licked her sexy red lips. Anyway, let's wait until you quit. I have an announcement so I'll leave first. If Wu Shangxi wants to embarrass you, just tell me. I'm leaving. Chu Lang didn't hear the second half of the sentence at all. All he had in his mind was Luo Hongchen's reward. What could it be? Could it be that? Looking at Luo Hongchen's hot and delicate figure walking away, Chu Lang suddenly felt his mouth dry. After daydreaming, Chu Lang shook his head in distress. Chu Lang turned back to the hospital. He was still hospitalized and it would take too long for him to be out, which made Jiyu Qingchang and the others anxious. Lying on the hospital bed, looking at the sky, I thought to myself, it's already this late. That country bumpkin named Wu probably didn't understand my foreign language, my plan failed, it seems I need to make a long-term plan. However, just when Chu Lang was disappointed, his cell phone suddenly rang. Hello, are you Mr. Chu Lang Chu? I'm Wu Shangxi from Southwind Technology. It's me, Mr. Wu, what's up? Chu Lang's tone was a little impatient, but he controlled it very well, making Wu Shangxi feel nervous but not so much that Wu Shangxi lost hope of getting close. Mr. Chu, may I have the honor to visit you? Here it comes. Done. Chu Lang was secretly happy, but he still kept a reserved look on his face. I have 10 minutes to see you from 9:30 to 9:40. Shanjiang City Hospital. Although Wu Shangxi was wondering why he was in the hospital, all he was thinking about was seeing Chu Lang, so he didn't think about it in detail. Okay, I'll definitely be ready. Thank you, Mr. Chu, for your honor. After hanging up the phone, Chu Lang smiled. However, his smile did not last long before he saw Jiyu Qingcheng walking in from outside through the hospital window, followed by a strange man. This man kept pestering Jiyu Qingcheng, causing Chu Lang's brows to suddenly tighten. Chapter 6, Flirting. Chu Lang searched his memory and found the identity information of this man. This man is called Jin Rui, a classmate of Jiyu Qingcheng. He is now the deputy director of the credit department of the Shanjiang branch of Huatong Bank, a private bank. This job sounds impressive, but a deputy director doesn't have much real power. He usually moves between major companies and thinks he has a wide network of contacts. This kind of person is like a boss in front of people who need funds. But in front of people with sufficient funds, he is a grandson, even more of a grandson than a grandson. This person also came to add insult to injury after Qing Cheng group encountered trouble. Chu Lang was full of disgust towards him. Qing Cheng, the 2 million loan is due in 2 months. Do you need my help to sort it out? Gu Qing Cheng walked in front, and Jin Rui followed behind, following like a wild dog. A pair of eyes emitting green light scanned Gu Qing Cheng's body back and forth. Gu Qing Cheng was extremely beautiful to begin with. Today, she was wearing a pair of ultra-short shorts. Her pair of beautiful legs reflected a crescent-shaped halo under the street lights, which was breathtakingly beautiful. Not to mention Jin Rui, the wild dog who has long been drooling over Gu Qing Cheng. Gu Qing Cheng quickened her pace in disgust. No need, I will return it to your bank in 2 months. Jin Rui looked at Gu Qing Cheng's beautiful legs as she walked forward, swallowed his saliva and continued to catch up. Qing Cheng, I know you recently took on a big project, funds are tight, and you have a burden to help at home, and now you are looking for a share transfer. We are old classmates. How about you come with me to have a meal and I can help you find a way to postpone your stay for half a year. Gu Qing Cheng is extremely beautiful and has attracted countless admirers. How could she not see what Jin Rui is thinking? Sorry, no need. Please leave. I have to go in to see my brother. He doesn't like me to be too close to other men. I will pay you back on time. Bye. Qing Cheng, you? Didn't you hear what my eldest sister said? At the gate of the inpatient apartment, Chu Lang's voice came rushing over, choking Jin Rui. Jin Rui looked at the person at the door clearly, and his surprised expression turned into contempt. I was wondering who it was. It turns out to be you, a useless gambler. Do you have the right to interrupt my conversation with your sister? If it weren't for you, would Qing Cheng have to suffer so much? Get out of here now. Jin Rui knew that Gu Qing Cheng and Chu Lang were not related by blood, and was very jealous of Chu Lang who could spend every day with Gu Qing Cheng. Especially since Chu Lang had no special abilities but was still taken care of by Gu Qing Cheng, she became even more jealous to the point of going crazy. Jin Rui, that's enough. This is my brother, the one I love the most, I won't allow you to yell at him. Gu Qing Cheng was angry. In her opinion, Chu Lang is still the timid and cowardly person now, and he must be scared after being scolded by Jin Rui. So he jumped out to defend Chu Lang. Chu Lang felt a tenderness in his heart. It had been so many years since anyone stood in front of him and spoke for him. Only in front of his sisters can Chu Lang discover that he is still that young boy. Gu Qing Cheng, you dare to yell at me. Don't think I don't know how much financial pressure you are under right now. Not to mention that you have this useless gambler and burden by your side. Believe it or not, as long as I ask, no one in Xinjiang City dares to help you. There are still 9 days until the first round of funding for your project comes in. I'll see what you'll do then. There's a gap of tens of millions. Even if you sell, I don't know how many nights it will take you to make it back. You're just pretending to be a fool in front of me. Do you really think you're the boss? Jin Rui got angry and started talking without thinking. You? Gu Qing Cheng was so angry that her face turned red, but she also knew that Jin Rui was telling the truth, and she felt uncomfortable. You are looking for death? A cold voice came from Gu Qing Cheng's side. A figure swayed and came in front of Jin Rui, raising his hand. Chapter 7 The Boss Comes. Bang! A loud and crisp slap hit Jin Rui's face. Chu Lang's expression was stern, and his anger was still there. You dare to scold my sister, I'll beat your dog mouth to pieces. 20 years after his rebirth, the person Chu Lang cherishes most is his sister. This bastard actually dared to scold Gu Qing Cheng, he is simply looking for death. You? Bang! Chu Lang slapped Jin Rui again, causing him to fall to the ground. Gu Qing Cheng was stunned. The reason why she yelled at Jin Rui just now was because she knew Chu Lang was a coward and she never expected Chu Lang to dare to take action. Moreover, Chu Lang did not look like a coward who was aggressive on the outside but strong on the inside. Instead, he looked very confident. You dare to hit me. I should hit you, but if I don't, you'll be sad. Apologize to my eldest sister immediately. Chu Lang's eyes turned a little red. He once fell into the abyss, and also looked down upon all the mountains. Looking back at the desolate place, rain or shine, there were only his 4 sisters. It's not an exaggeration to say it's a reverse scale. Chu Lang knew that those who wanted to achieve great things had to manage their emotions well, but if he remained indifferent even when Jiyu Qingchang was slandered and insulted in front of him, then he was not worthy of achieving great things. Jin Rui was shocked by Chu Lang's murderous aura. Jiyu Qingchang was worried that the matter would get out of hand, so she took Chu Lang's hand and said, "Xiao Wu, forget it. No, from now on, I will not allow my sister to be bullied in any way." Chu Lang spoke so loudly that Jiyu Qingchang was surprised and her heart was shaken. "Xiao Wu, it seems that things are really different. Is this still him? Gambler, good. You were the first to start this, and we are not done with this today." Jin Rui dialed the number viciously, spoke fiercely to the person on the phone, and then pointed at Chu Lang. "Don't leave, my people are coming soon, I'll kill you." Jiyu Qingchang said to Chu Lang nervously, "Xiao Wu, Jin Rui is a very difficult person. He knows a lot of people from all walks of life in society. He is a typical difficult kid. Why don't you go hide in the back? Don't be afraid of him, I'm here." Chu Lang Yuan is like a deep and majestic mountain, with an outstanding temperament. Soon, 2 Jinbei vans stopped outside the hospital, and a dozen big men walked over aggressively. "Director Jin, who is offending you by not giving you face?" "Leopard, that's him." Seeing his helper arrive, Jin Rui's arrogance instantly rose. He pointed at Chu Lang and cursed, "That grandson dared to hit my face, Leopard, beat his mouth to pieces. He will pay." Jin Rui has long wanted to beat Chu Lang in front of Jiyu Qingchang. Jiyu Qingchang held Chu Lang's hand, and Chu Lang could feel the sweat on Jiyu Qingchang's palms due to nervousness. The leopard is about to take action. Beep. There was a long horn from behind, and then 2 LED matrix headlights pierced through the darkness, illuminating the crowd here in every detail. "Fuck, this is a Mercedes-Benz S600. Isn't this the car of Mr. Wu, the boss of Nanfeng Technology? Why is he here?" Jin Rui knows all the high-level people in Xinjiang City. Wu Shanxi has been rising rapidly with the help of Entcoin and has become a new elite in Xinjiang City, with his influence expanding greatly. Jin Rui once went to Boss Wu's bank to seek financial investment, but he was kicked out without even meeting him. The car stopped just outside the crowd, and the people led by Leopard stopped at the same time and made way very politely. Wu Shanxi got out of the car and tidied his clothes. Jin Rui had asked for a meeting several times but failed. When he saw him this time, he quickly smiled fawningly and prepared to go forward to greet him. "Hello, Boss Wu, you." Unexpectedly, Wu Shanxi didn't even look at him and walked quickly towards Chu Lang. Chapter 8 or Mr. Chu, please forgive me for not recognizing your true ability. I'm sorry. Wu Shanxi was very humble. In his eyes, Chu Lang is a big shot who can shake up the Wall Street. Although Wu Shanxi has been thriving in Xinjiang City recently, compared with a Wall Street big shot like Chu Lang, he is not even as good as Chu Lang's leg hair. Especially when he thought of the scene where orders were strictly enforced and words were followed by laws, Wu Shanxi was full of awe for Chu Lang. He also believed that as long as he had Chu Lang's guidance, he would be able to reach a higher level. "What nonsense are you talking about? What can I do for you to see?" Chu Lang didn't want anyone to know the secret of his time travel, especially since Jin Rui and others were present. Yes, nothing. I wonder if Mr. Chu is free now. I want to chat with you for a while. Wu Shanxi's attitude left Jiyu Qingchang dumbfounded, not to mention Jin Rui and others. Jin Rui's eyes widened and he asked in disbelief, Boss Wu, did you recognize the wrong person?" "Shut up. Do I need you to tell me what to do? Who the hell are you?" Wu Shanxi scolded Jin Rui harshly. Jin Rui could only lower his head and tremble. Wu Shanxi was not someone he could afford to offend. "Mr. Chu, are you free now?" Chu Lang raised his eyebrows. "I'm afraid I can't talk to Boss Wu. These people don't want me to leave." Swish. Chu Lang looked around and seemed honest, but his smile seemed to have malicious intentions no matter how you looked at it. The reason Chu Lang could remain so calm was that he was sure that Wu Shanxi would come. Moreover, he knew better than anyone that Wu Shanxi's current status in Xinjiang City, although not absolutely top-notch, was no problem at all for him to suppress Jin Rui and his gang. Wu Shanxi has been in society for a long time, so of course he understands what Chu Lang means. "I think Mr. Chu has been abroad all the time and has no influence in the country, but he is threatened by such a bunch of trash." This also made Wu Shanxi's mind active. Now is the best time to curry favor with Mr. Chu. Leopard, Jin Rui, you bastards, how dare you embarrass Mr. Chu? Wu Shanxi became furious. He raised his hand and slapped the leaders in the face. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Chapter 9 Business is done. It was not until the two figures disappeared into the darkness that Jin Rui and Leopard looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. Then he got in the car and went home in shame. Jin Rui dialed the number in the car. Hey, Master Jiang, I was putting pressure on Jiu Qingchang as you ordered, but Chu Lang suddenly showed up. It's that gambler. I don't know what that bastard did, but he actually got in touch with Wu Shanxi. A deep voice came from the other end of the phone. Wu Shanxi? Don't worry, there are still 9 days left. My joining Qingchang group is a foregone conclusion. Wu Shanxi can't stop it. Is my Jiang family afraid of a nouveau riche? But how could that gambler know Wu Shanxi? Go check it out. Yes. After hanging up the phone, Jin Rui fell silent, and then he cursed unwillingly, Mr. Chu, we are not done yet. Municipal Hospital. Bitcoin and Entcoin will continue to fluctuate within the existing framework, so there is no need to rush to increase holdings for the time being. With 20 years of accumulation and a commanding view from the top, Wu Shanxi was shocked when Chu Lang casually revealed a little bit of his knowledge. I kept nodding my head in agreement, feeling that every word Mr. Chu said was a wise saying. Just when Wu Shanxi was still unsatisfied, Chu Lang interrupted the conversation at the right time. After saying so much, Boss Wu still hasn't told me the purpose of coming to see me tonight. Please forgive me, Mr. Chu. I admire your influence and knowledge very much. I never thought that an inland city like Shangjiang City would welcome a great Buddha like you. I also understand your idea of developing in China. Because of Mr. Chu, the WAS party and the Federal Bank have completely torn their faces apart. It is too dangerous over there. Wu Shanxi still thought that Chu Lang was caught up in a fight between the super financial tycoons on Wall Street. In fact, they are having a great time fighting, and it has nothing to do with Chu Lang. Their fight has nothing to do with me. Boss Wu, please stop talking nonsense. If Chu Lang admitted it, Wu Shanxi would still have some doubts. But Chu Lang's denial made Wu Shanxi more determined that Chu Lang was the center of the storm. Right, it's none of Mr. Chu's business. I know it's not convenient for Mr. Chu to use large sums of money right now, so he came to me. Do you want to see the return on investment of Entcoin in China first? Chu Lang smiled calmly and said I have no money. I am trying to get something for nothing. Do you believe me, Boss Wu? The more Chu Lang told the truth, the more Wu Shanxi didn't believe it. His smile became even brighter. I believe everything Mr. Chu says. But even if Mr. Chu is a trap, I am willing to put my head into it. Mr. Chu needs 3,000 mining machines, right? In this way, Mr. Wu is also sincere in making friends with Mr. Chu, and I will supply 5,000 machines. By the way, does Mr. Chu need me to send someone to set up? Is there a site? Chu Lang knew that this was Wu Shanxi's last test. But he had already believed in Chu Lang, and the last two sentences were just a businessman's vigilance. Then thank you for your generosity, Boss Wu. I will pay you in full in 7 days. As for the construction and the venue, Boss Wu can just send them to the Li family's machinery factory. 3,000 becomes 5,000. An unexpected surprise. For Chu Lang, the more the better. Anyway, he didn't intend to pay the cost. Mr. Chu, I believe in your character. However, the rules are still the rules. We may need an intermediary to sign a guarantee contract. What do you think? Wu Shanxi believed that Chu Lang was indeed an extraordinary person, but he was still a businessman after all. Since it came to business, he had to strictly follow the rules. Of course. Boss Wu is so sincere, how can I be hypocritical? I'll have someone sign the guarantee agreement right away. Chu Lang got up and went outside to make a phone call. Hey, Kitty, how's it going? No problem, brother. There's a vacant room in the high voltage power room of more than 200 square meters. But my dad doesn't seem very happy about it. After all, even if the factory doesn't need to be rented out, it still has some space, right? Chu Lang sneered. Of course he knew that this bastard was asking him for money. Don't worry, I've already told my sister. She gave me 100,000 first. Once she sees the scale, she will add more. Once we get the money, we'll go for the big one. 2 million, a wave of fat. Come to South Wind Technology tomorrow. I will buy a batch of scrapped machines from them to trick my sister. You know my credit rating, and they will only let me get you to sign a guarantee agreement. Chu Lang threw out the bait. As expected, Mao Zai Li Xiu swallowed his saliva and said, "Good brother, you are worthy of me. I will come to sign at a certain time tomorrow." Chapter 10. Huge sum of money arrived. Chu Lang was patiently coaxing Mao Zai over there. In the ward where Chu Lang is staying, Jiyu Qingcheng and fourth sister Shinqian were whispering. "Fourth sister, don't look at Xiao Wu with old eyes. I find that he is really different from before." HMPH. Shinqian disagreed. "It's true. Let's not talk about what happened today. The bank card I gave him was linked to my mobile phone number. In the past, he would always lose all the money he got. But this time, except for buying 2 sets of clothes, he didn't spend a penny of the rest of the money. It's still in the account." Oh. Shinqian was slightly surprised. "I think Xiao Wu might really be different. I'll ask him later." What truth can you get out of asking him face to face? This kid won't tell you a word of truth. Just observe him secretly. Okay, I'll secretly follow him and observe him tomorrow. But, fourth sister, I firmly believe that my little Wu has changed. Believe me. Humph, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Absolutely not. When Chu Lang came in, Jiyu Qingcheng subconsciously asked, "Xiao Wu, why didn't you touch the money I gave you?" "I took it to do business." Jiyu Qingcheng smiled like a flower. "I knew Xiao Wu had changed, keep it up. Tomorrow, the Antracoin mining machine will be delivered, and then an account for issuing coins will be needed." Chu Lang discovered that he had long been on the bank's blacklist, and any money he deposited would be deducted immediately. So he tied the bank card that Jiyu Qingcheng gave him. However, he did not consider that the bank card payment information would appear on Jiyu Qingcheng's mobile phone without missing a single one. After binding the bank card and being tired for a day, Chu Lang fell asleep soon. The next morning, Chu Lang was awakened by a noisy sound. Outside the hospital corridor, many people were talking. "Have you heard? There was a sudden landslide on Mariu Mountain, 20 kilometers from Shanjiang City to Shiyuan City. Several cars were buried. Many family members went to Mariu Mountain to make a fuss. The matter is going to get out of hand." Upon hearing the news, Chu Lang was suddenly moved. He was not moved by other people's life and death, but he was anxious and excited. Lithium mines are coming soon. If his memory serves him correctly, there will be several landslides in Mariu Mountain in the next few days, and then the news of the discovery of a large amount of spargamine will be exposed, and then the whole Shanjiang city and even the whole country will be in an uproar. Hurry, hurry, hurry. You must seize the opportunity as soon as possible, otherwise you won't be able to drink the soup. There are still a few days left, God. I must wait until I make my first pot of gold before the spargamine mine is exposed. Chu Lang knew that there was no time to lose, so he immediately set off for Confronting Technology with the hospital. But he didn't notice that a beautiful figure was following closely behind him. Jiyu Qingcheng discovered that Chu Lang had been sneaking out alone for 2 days in a row, so according to yesterday's decision, she followed him to see what he was up to. Is Xiao Wu doing business secretly? Har har, he definitely can't imagine that I'm watching him work hard from behind. Jiyu Qingcheng firmly believed in her heart that Chu Lang had changed for the better. However, when she saw Chu Lang and Mao Zai meeting, the smile on her face froze. Isn't he this Li Xiu? The one who dragged Chu Lang into this? How come they are still together? Jiyu Qingcheng's heart suddenly sank. Jiyu Qingcheng waited outside for more than 10 minutes and saw the 2 people from Confronting Technology come out. Chu Lang took the agreement and patted Mao Zai on the shoulder. Mao Zai, good brother. With your help in signing this guarantee agreement, when those old machines arrive, I guarantee that I can cheat my eldest sister out of her money. Then Chu Lang took out 100,000 yuan, which was the money given by his elder sister the day before yesterday, and handed it to Mao Zai. Use this money to fool your father. Swish. When Jiyu Qingcheng overheard Chu Lang's words, it was as if she was drenched from head to toe with ice-cold water. Xiao Wu, are you lying to me? Is he still lying to me? Jiyu Qingcheng's face suddenly turned pale, as if the faith in her heart was being drained away bit by bit. Although Chu Lang had deceived her more than once, this time Chu Lang's various abnormal signs made Jiyu Qingcheng really see hope. However, the greater the hope, the more painful the disappointment. Gu Qingcheng followed Chu Lang in a daze, from Nanfeng Technology all the way to Li's machinery factory. At 9 o'clock in the morning, the mining machine was delivered, and after 12 o'clock, Chu Lang completed the establishment of the Antracoin mine. Their high-voltage power room, which is over 200 square meters, is just enough to hold these 5,000 machines. Buzz. The equipment is running and everything is normal. Chu Lang stayed in the computer room until 12 o'clock in the evening. However, he did not realize that in the darkness, there was a pair of eyes staring at him. It was not until 12 o'clock in the evening that Chu Lang clicked the outlet button and waited for the money to arrive in his bank card. Sudden. Is this the business you were talking about? Sister. A cold voice came from the door. Gu Qingcheng was standing at the door with a disappointed look on her face. Eyes are red. Along the way, she wanted to jump out and question Chu Lang more than once, but she still held out a glimmer of hope. But when she saw these so-called junk machines in front of her, she finally confirmed that Chu Lang wanted to deceive her. She endured it until 12 o'clock in the evening, and finally she couldn't bear it anymore and rushed in. I ask you, is this what you mean by business? Gu Qingcheng's disappointment and questioning made Chu Lang's weathered heart feel like a mess. Yes, yes, big sister. This is all for making money. Chu Lang. How long are you going to lie to me? I heard every word you said to Li Xiao. You pretended to start a business with scrap machinery to cheat me out of my money, right? You took the money and continued to gamble, right? You pretended to be very busy and didn't go home until midnight. You were acting everything out for me, right? When she got excited, Gu Qingcheng could no longer control her grievance and anger, and raised her hand, pretending to slap Chu Lang in the face. Bang! The loud slap did not hit Chu Lang's face. Instead, Gu Qingcheng slapped herself in the face. When Chu Lang saw the 5-finger marks on Gu Qingcheng's face, his heart was broken. Big sister. Don't touch me. It's my fault that I didn't listen to fourth sister and indulged you, causing you to become like this. It's all my fault, all my fault. Gu Qingcheng's emotions broke down and she cried hysterically. Sister, I didn't lie to you. Gu Qingcheng couldn't listen to him at all. She clenched her hands tightly, feeling sad and angry. I mortgaged my entire fortune to pay off your debt. I gambled everything in the hope that you would change for the better. Is this the answer you gave me? The answer is deception, right? Aren't you going to lie to me? Aren't you going to cheat me of everything? Tell me, I can give you anything. Why did you choose to lie to me? Here. Everything is for you. Gu Qingcheng's excitement could no longer hide her tears, and tears flowed one by one from her big eyes filled with grievance and anger. He took out his wallet and dug out his bank card. There are still $3,000 on this one, and the $5,000 I'm going to use to pay for your medicine tomorrow. This is all I have. If it's not enough, I'll give you all my company shares and my life. When I die, you won't have to worry about you anymore. Da. Bank cards were thrown in front of Chu Lang. When Chu Lang heard Gu Qingcheng say death, the guilt that he had buried for 20 years burst out. He still clearly remembered the scene in his previous life when Gu Qingcheng was defrauded by him and became insolvent, and committed suicide by taking medicine. My heart aches. Chu Lang quickly bent down and picked up the bank card. Sister, please don't be like this. Don't cry, okay? I'm not lying to you. I really am making money. Gu Qingcheng burst into tears. I heard it all, I saw it all. How long are you going to lie to me? Last night, I solemnly told fourth sister that you had changed. Do you know how happy I was when you stood in front of me last night and chased Jin Rui away from me? I really want to let everyone in the world know that the person I love the most, my beloved Chu Lang, has come back. But today I finally understood that yesterday's beauty was the beginning of a nightmare. Chu Lang, I am so disappointed in you. Bite. At this moment, the cell phone that Gu Qingcheng threw on the ground lit up. She glanced at it subconsciously. Overseas account, Chu Lang transferred to construction bank card number. Chapter 11 Chongming Mining. Overseas account Chu Lang transferred 720,000 yuan into her bank card. All of Gu Qingcheng's grievances, grief, anger, and disappointment froze the moment she saw the amount. This, did you earn it? Chu Lang heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the money arrived on time. Yes. I didn't lie to you, did I, sister? Sorry. I just. As excited as Jiu Qingcheng was just now, she felt ashamed now. I should have believed you. Xiao Wu, I'm sorry. She didn't say that she was happy to see the money, but she found out that Xiao Wu didn't lie to her, and all those emotions disappeared in an instant. Chu Lang held her face, which was still covered with tears and fingerprints, and said, "How could I blame my sister? Don't hit yourself in the future. It's too heartbreaking." Hearing Chu Lang's gentle voice, Jiu Qingcheng's heart was pounding and she felt a little flustered. Okay. I'm leaving first. Don't be too tired, come back early, and be safe. Jiu Qingcheng gave her SIM card to Chu Lang before leaving. After leaving, Chu Lang calculated today's gains and losses. According to Chu Lang's previous calculations, the daily profit of a mining machine is about 6 coins. 3,000 units is about 2. After a week, 14 coins were dug up, and at the price of $70,000 each, that's $350,000. At the current exchange rate, after deducting the handling fee, the gross profit is about $6 million. Moreover, this is a mining machine that has been debugged with Chu Lang's professional skills. If it is replaced with current technology, an S9 mining machine can produce a maximum of about 100 million pieces a day. Moreover, the electricity bill is horribly high. Therefore, the income from mining is not high. Of course, Chu Lang intends to make a profit including the principal, so he doesn't need to consider the cost. The unexpected surprise this time was that Wu Shangxi gave 5,000 units, which directly increased the production capacity by 80%. 22 coins can be minted in 7 days. Excluding the handling fees and exchange rate, the estimated gross profit is 10 million. Today is only half a day, and 1.6 Ent coins have flowed into the market. As soon as the knife entered the account, Chu Lang immediately transferred the money into the country. Arrived, yuan. The man who felt no pleasure even though he had trillions of dollars in his previous life, actually showed an excited smile on his face after seeing this string of numbers. This feeling, it's been a long time since I last felt it. This is only half a day. If the profit is for a day, it will be doubled. Chu Lang licked his lips, then went to the distribution room to see how much the electricity bill was. His factory was originally a high-voltage distribution room. After seeing today's power consumption on the electric meter, Chu Lang became uneasy. A happy smile appeared on his face. The electricity bill is more than 300,000. Half a day. The average electricity consumption of a mining machine is more than 60 yuan. This is just the electricity bill for half a day at night after the tiered electricity price adjustment. If it's daytime, working all day. Chu Lang was a little excited just thinking about it. He just patted his butt and left after a week. Firstly, he did not sign any contract with Li's machinery factory, and secondly, he signed a guarantee with Li Xiao and Wu Shangxi. Chu Lang himself has nothing to do with anything, he just wants to take advantage of the situation and quit, but the sky-high bill can kill that bastard Li Xiao. At this time, Chu Lang's phone rang. He thought it was Li Xiao, but it turned out to be a familiar yet unfamiliar number. Fatty. I haven't received this call for 20 years, so Chu Lang used a question mark. Brother Lang, I stole 20,000 yuan from my wife. Cash, where are you? I'll give it to you. The fat guy's name is Lu Jie, and he is Chu Lang's classmate. He is a fat man, only 1.6 meters tall and weighs more than 200 kilograms. Chu Lang flipped through his memories and thought of the fat man, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. If their sisters were as kind to him as a mountain, then the fat man was as loyal and affectionate to him as he was to her. Every time Chu Lang lost money and had no other options, he would think of Fatty, and Fatty would steal the money from Chu Lang's wife and give it to him. Until later, when the truth was revealed and his wife divorced Fatty, Fatty never asked Chu Lang when he would pay back the money. Judging from the time, in about 3 months, the fat wife will find out and divorce him. Later, after Chu Lang became successful, he also looked for Fatty, but it was said that he died in a drunk driving accident when he was 30 years old. For this, Chu Lang regretted it for a long time. Chu Lang instinctively wanted to refuse, but suddenly the spargemine from Marliu Mountain flashed through his mind, and he immediately had an idea. Fatty, take the money and wait for me at the Industrial and Commercial Bureau tomorrow. Oh, okay. The fat man thought Chu Lang would ask for money tomorrow, so he agreed without saying a word. As for the Industry and Commerce Bureau? It's just a location. For this, Chu Lang was moved in his heart, but he didn't say it out loud. Sometimes men's friendship doesn't need words. The next morning, Chu Lang first went to the factory to see if the mining machine was operating normally, then gave a da zhongjiu to the security guard on duty and asked him to help watch it and call if there was anything. As long as the power is on, there is a high probability that nothing will go wrong. The security guard patted his chest and agreed, showing more loyalty than working in a factory. Then I turned around and went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. The fat man's figure was very conspicuous, and you could tell at a glance that he was standing at the door of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. It had been 20 years since I last saw it like that, and Chu Lang sighed. Fatty. Brother Lang, here, this is money. Chu Lang took the wrinkled 20,000 yuan hidden by the fat man, and his heart ached. Let's go in. Huh? What are you doing here? Let's set up a company. This money will be used as your investment, 10%. The name will be Chongming Mining Company, Limited, and you will be the legal representative. R. The fat man was even more surprised. Brother Lang doesn't he gamble anymore? Switching to some commercial tricks? But, with Brother Lang SIQ, is that enough? Soon after they came out of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau, they became the legal representative and CEO of the company. Fatty, from now on, you are the legal representative and operations director of Chongming Mining. Go now. Chu Lang gradually grew into a big tycoon in Darshire and knew the domestic rules inside and out. He aimed at Mariu Mountain and knew what to do to get a bite of this huge piece of fat meat. Hearing Chu Lang's orderly arrangements, the fat man was stunned. Is this still the Brother Lang he knew? Why does he look so much like the boss on TV? Tell them you want to buy the mining rights for the entire Mariu Mountain. And only for 1 year. Spodumene is the most important source of raw materials for lithium batteries. As China has been vigorously developing new energy vehicles recently, the price of spodumene has become extremely high. But Chu Lang knew that he had the advantage of foresight. The authorities could allow him to take some advantage, but they would never watch such a large mineral vein fall into private hands forever. He only needs 1 year, and after 1 year, it must be returned to the authorities, otherwise the consequences will be unpredictable. But, Brother Lang, can it be done? We only have 800,000. It's okay. There aren't many people in Mariu Mountain to begin with, and today the landslide cut off the road. Tell them to build a good road within 2 months, and we will be responsible for all landslides. If we can't do it, we will automatically withdraw after 2 months. And 800,000 is just a deposit. I will pay 10 million to buy the mining rights for 1 year. 10 million? Oh my God. Brother Lang, is there really any treasure on this mountain? The fat man was stunned by Chu Lang's behavior. And the fat man didn't seem to have any doubts at all whether Chu Lang could come up with so much money. Chu Lang smiled meaningfully. Yes, baby. Go quickly, don't just stand there. Oh. The fat man went to do his work with doubt, while Chu Lang returned to the factory. I heard from the security guard that there seemed to be some problem with the factory's circuit yesterday, and some machines could not be operated, so the circuit will be inspected from 9 p.m. to 12 p.m. tonight. Chu Lang smiled bitterly in his heart. It must be because of excessive electricity consumption that caused the line to be loaded. Never mind, it's only 3 hours, not a huge loss. At 8:30 in the evening, Chu Lang sold the end coins he had mined that day. Yuan has been deposited into your bank card. He just spent 1 million to register a company, and earned another million today. This is a really fast way to make money, but Chu Lang knows that this road will not last long. By the time Wu Shangxi reacts, he will be in trouble. Coming out of the factory with a huge sum of money in his pocket, Chu Lang suddenly remembered. When I was reborn, my eldest sister, third sister, and fourth sister all saw me, except my second sister. The second sister is Yi Hanyu. She opened a small bar and rarely came home before the early hours of the morning. The second sister was also very kind to Chu Lang. In his previous life, Chu Lang was kidnapped because he owed a debt. The second sister led people to rescue him, but her spine was severely injured and she became a vegetable for 18 years. She passed away on the eve of Chu Lang's time travel. When he passed away, he no longer looked like a human being. Although Chu Lang later succeeded and gave his second sister Yi Hanyu the best medical resources, she was still unable to be saved. Yi Hanyu's bar is called The Other Shore. As soon as I entered, I saw a beautiful woman in a black leather jacket, punk style, and fiery red hair, drinking with someone. Second sister. At this time, my second sister was a million times more beautiful than before she died. Hearing Chu Lang calling her, Yi Hanyu turned around suddenly, then hooked Chu Lang's neck and said, "Xiao Wu, come and help your sister drink." Originally, Yi Hanyu was wearing a leather jacket with a low-cut tank top underneath. This hook just happened to draw Chu Lang's line of sight to the neckline in an unobstructed straight line, so he could easily look over and see the scenery on the other side of the valley. Chu Lang's eyes widened and he swallowed his saliva. Chapter 12. Do you dare to touch my woman? In terms of appearance, each of the four sisters has her own merits. The eldest sister is gentle and graceful, with a touch of royal grace. Although she has the most voluptuous and proud figure, she does not expose it. The third sister is petite and adorable, and can be held in one's arms. The fourth sister is tall and attractive, cold and beautiful, but her figure is the least conspicuous among the four sisters. The second sister is the one who dresses the sexiest and most fashionable. After Chu Lang became successful in his previous life, he had seen countless women, but now he thought that in terms of beauty, no woman could compare to his four sisters. Especially this kind of amorous feelings that were revealed inadvertently, even Chu Lang, who had seen a lot of things, couldn't help himself. "Hey, little guy, where are you looking?" I have to say that women are very sensitive to men's gazes. Noticing that Chu Lang's eyes were abnormal, Yi Hanyu patted Chu Lang's cheek with a smile. Then he cleaned up the scenery, pushed Chu Lang to sit on the sofa, and introduced Chu Lang to everyone present as if nothing had happened. Yi Hanyu's bar is not big, with just a dance floor in the middle and some booths around it. There are only about 20 booths in total. The position where Yi Hanyu is currently located has the best view and position, no wonder she chose to sit at this table. Chu Lang didn't remember the names of this brother and that sister. The music was loud and the environment was noisy, so he didn't have the energy to remember. All he remembered was that the host of the table was the man in black sitting 2 seats to his left, named Ji Guangfar. On each of his left and right hands he held a heavily made-up woman, with a big gold chain and a small watch, looking like a gangster, completely like one. He was staring at Chu Lang with a look of disgust and ferocity, especially after seeing Yi Hanyu's intimate gesture of hooking her hand around Chu Lang's neck. Hostility? Chu Lang narrowed his eyes slightly. Chu Lang had some impression of this person. He was a well-known idler in the southern part of Shanjiang City. Later, I heard that he wanted to get involved in the mining of spargamine, and had a quarrel with a man named Xiao. He was defeated and disappeared without a trace. Some say he went in, some say he escaped, and some say he died. Thinking of this person, the figure of another person immediately emerged in Chu Lang's mind. Xiao. At that time, the spargamine mine in Maliu Mountain was in full swing, and Xiao was a well-known local tyrant in Maliu Mountain. Many local villagers obey his orders. Not only is he ruthless in the city, but he also has a very high prestige in the village. Later, relying on his appeal in Maliu Mountain, Xiao formed alliances among various forces, and his business became bigger and bigger. He became a famous boss in several nearby cities and even had influence in the provincial capital. Therefore, if Chu Lang wants to mine spargamine, Xiao is definitely an obstacle that he cannot avoid. Chu Lang was worried about not being able to communicate with Xiao. He heard that Ji Guangfar had a grudge against him. Perhaps he could get in touch with Xiao through this person. After all, the enemy of my enemy may be my friend. Xiao Wu, come and give a toast to Brother Guangfar. If you have any questions in the future, mention Brother Guangfar's name. After all, he was a wealthy customer, so Yi Hanyu gave Ji Guangfar enough face. He also poured a glass of wine for Chu Lang, indicating that it should be toasted to Ji Guangfar. But Ji Guangfar didn't give him face and pushed the quilt away very rudely. "Hanyu, brother, I welcome you, but I never said I welcomed this Xiao Wu." "Xiao Wu? Is he a eunuch?" Yi Hanyu's expression froze, and the people around him laughed secretly and watched the show. Chu Lang's face darkened. "This is what my third sister calls me. Generally, outsiders call me Brother Lang. You can call me Brother Lang, too." Wow. There was an uproar, louder than the music. Ji Guangfar laughed wildly. "What an interesting little brat, you dare to speak so arrogantly to me. Arrogance brings disaster, and you are courting death. Brother Guangfar, my brother is immature, don't bother with him. I respect you." Yi Hanyu was a little scared. Ji Guangfar was known for his brutality. Xiao Wu had provoked him and was afraid something might happen, so he quickly raised his glass to toast him. With a bang, Ji Guangfar knocked Yi Hanyu's wine glass away. "Hanyu, I've been here to support you for so many days, you should understand what I mean, right? Don't pretend to be confused. If you want Brother Guangfar to forgive your brother, you can, or you can protect your business, I'll do whatever you want. But shouldn't you obey your Brother Guangfar for once? You have such a great figure, go to the dance floor and dance for Brother Guangfar to see." Ji Guangfar glanced at Yi Hanyu with a wolf-like look. This girl is truly top-notch. Ji Guangfar didn't want to give up on her the first time he saw her and regarded her as his own. It just so happened that Yi Hanyu wanted him to help take care of the place, so he had some bad ideas. Yi Hanyu's body trembled, she was shocked and angry, but Ji Guangfar was very powerful in this area, no one could compare to him except Xiao-san. If she refused again, what if he attacked Chu Lang? 2,000. Bang! Seeing Yi Hanyu hesitate, Ji Guangfar threw 2,000 cash from his bag onto the table. "Jump! If you satisfy me, your brother, I will protect your place from now on, and the money will belong to you." Yi Hanyu's business is a small one, and the profit for the day is just this much. But paying someone to dance is pure insult. Yi Hanyu's face became even uglier. "Not enough? 5,000. Bang! Ji Guangfar showed a malicious smile and threw another 3,000 on the table. Yi Hanyu actually knew that if he opened the door now, Ji Guangfar would make even more excessive demands in the future. However, opening a bar here would offend Ji Guangfar and cause an awkward situation. Just when Yi Hanyu was hesitating. "That's right, I want to see people dancing too." There was no way Chu Lang could tolerate Ji Guangfar, so he stood in front of Yi Hanyu. Pointing at the two women Ji Guangfar brought with him, he said, "You two, jump. He'll pay 5,000 and I'll pay 10,000. Aren't you going to bully my sister? Then I will bully your woman. Asshole. You're looking for death." Ji Guangfar slammed the table and stood up, and the people who came with him also glared at him angrily. The two women also sneered, "Little brat, you are just making random bids without any evidence? Do you know that this will offend Brother Guangfar?" Yi Hanyu was stunned. How could Xiao Wu, such a weak person, dare to jump out at this time? Ji Guangfar was just short of having the word "evil guy" written on his face. "Not enough? Then add another 10,000. Chu Lang threw out 2 stacks of cash from his bag. This was the cash left over from registering the company today. Then he withdrew some cash overnight in case of emergency, and now he has so much money in his bag that it is overwhelming. See who can play. The two women originally followed Ji Guangfar for money, but although Ji Guangfar looked successful, he was actually very stingy, and there were not many opportunities for them to earn 20,000 yuan this time. The two women stared at the money on the table with great greed. Ji Guangfar called himself the big brother, but was insulted in the face by Chu Lang with money. He was furious and said, "You bastard! How dare you touch my woman? You dare to touch my woman!" Chapter 13 Man. Bang! Ji Guangfar was so angry that he smashed a bottle of wine, picked up the bottle and stared at Chu Lang. "Little bastard, it seems that you really want to fight to the death with me today." Ji Guangfar is on the verge of exploding. The two sisters-in-law danced well. It's just a dance. Why is Brother Guangfar so angry? Chu Lang laughed sarcastically, and then shouted to the women on the dance floor, "You two, help Brother Guangfar to have fun. Take off a piece of clothing and add 5,000 yuan, and 10,000 yuan for pants." Alas! There were whistles and cheers in the bar. Many people recognized that this was Brother Guangfar's woman. "Alpaca, go ahead and kill him for me." Ji Guangfar couldn't bear it any longer and flew into a rage. He called his men and took the lead in picking up the broken wine bottle and smashing it at Chu Lang. "Xiao Wu, be careful." Yi Hanyu, who was in shock, came to his senses immediately when he saw Chu Lang in danger. Chu Lang curled the corner of his mouth, grabbed Ji Guangfar's arm with his left hand, and suddenly struck out with his right hand. With a bang, Ji Guangfar's head was pressed onto the wine table. Then he freed his left hand, smashed a beer bottle with a bang, and put it on Ji Guangfar's neck. Chu Lang acted so quickly that by the time they reacted, Ji Guangfar had already been subdued. Yi Hanyu was shocked. When did Xiao Wu become so skilled? After Chu Lang achieved success in his previous life, he invited the world's top fighting experts to practice with him. It was too easy for him to beat Ji Guangfar. Come on, kill him for me. Ji Guangfar lived up to his reputation as a ruthless man. Even when Chu Lang held his head down, he still shouted for revenge. Chu Lang thrust his beer bottle forward, piercing Ji Guangfar's skin. I don't know if they can kill me, but I know that I will kill you before they do. At worst, I will kill you and run away, and then find a chance to kill your wife and son before I go in. Let's see, which is more valuable, my life or the lives of Brother Guangfar's family. Chu Lang's eyes were fierce and murderous. Ji Guang's hair stood on end. Stop. 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 My friend. No, Brother Lang, we can talk it out. It's just a misunderstanding. There's no need to fight to the death, right? He could sense Chu Lang's seriousness. There was a hint of madness in this man's tone. Ji Guangfar has been in society for so long that he can see things clearly. He was scared. Chiu San seemed very reasonable, and Chu Lang needed his help, so he was naturally polite. Chiu San did not hold back on his status in the underworld, and smiled cheerfully. Brother Lang is straightforward, please. Chu Lang had never dealt with Chiu San in his previous life, but now it seems that it is not unfair for Ji Guangfar to lose to Chiu San. His demeanor alone is more than 100 times better than Ji Guangfar's. Chu Lang asked Yi Hanyu to help him book a secluded private room. After entering with Chiu San, the two of them exchanged some casual greetings. After all, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Chiu San expressed his admiration for Chu Lang, and after drinking and chatting, the relationship between the two of them also warmed up slightly. Chu Lang finally stated his purpose. Brother Lang wants to take the mining rights of Mariu Mountain. Can you please let me, Chiu, come forward and help you deal with the local forces? Fatty went to the relevant authorities and almost got it done. Now all that was left was to deal with the local forces. If Chiu San didn't come forward, Chu Lang was sure that once the matter of Sparjameen was exposed, there would definitely be jealous people who would interfere, which would be very troublesome. Right. Why? Chiu San asked back with a smile. Chu Lang also laughed. I can help Third Master make money, a lot of money. Chapter 14, A Red Branch with Dew and Fragrance. Chiu San narrowed his eyes and looked at Chu Lang deeply. How much? If he hadn't seen Chu Lang spending a fortune to deal with Ji Guangfar just now, he really wouldn't believe how much so-called big money a man in his 20s could have. Chu Lang stretched out a finger. 10 million. Chu Lang knew that he couldn't ask Chiu San for help without any reason, as the friendship between adults was only based on interests. Chiu San took a deep breath. Just like Ji Guangfar, these social people may look very powerful, but when it comes to the ability to make money, they may not even be as good as ordinary businessmen. After all, a businessman only cares about himself, and he has a group of subordinates to take care of. 1 year. 10 million a year is already a huge gain for Chiu San. No, 1 month. Hiss. Chiu San was shocked. Brother Lang is so sure. In addition to some scattered coal with little economic value, the only vegetation in Mariu Mountain is available for development. Brother Lang is so sure that he can make a lot of money. Chiu San looked at Chu Lang carefully. As a member of society, he was definitely not a kind person. The reason why he was so polite to Chu Lang was that Chiu San thought that Chu Lang in front of him had a temperament that he could not see through. Although Chiu San claimed that he was not a big shot, it was impossible that he could not be seen through by even a young man. This Chu Lang was very extraordinary. This is my business. If you are willing to help, I will give you 10% of the shares and guarantee that you can earn 10 million a month for a year. If you can't reach that, I, Chu Lang, will pay for it out of my own pocket. Chiu San's eyes suddenly lit up with brilliance. 10% of the profit is 10 million per month. Then Brother Lang's profit is 100 million. Astronomical figures. Chu Lang smiled. Third Master is a hero in the martial arts world. 100 million and 100 million are two different concepts. It is impossible for Chu Lang to earn that much. After he divides Chiu San's shares, he still needs to use the remaining part to bribe people up and down and shut up the mouths and eyes of those people with conjunctivitis, which costs a lot. Har har har. Chiu San laughed loudly and raised his glass. Alas, it was Chiu who was stupid. Don't blame me, Brother Lang. Starting tomorrow, no one will dare to stop Brother Lang's car at the 3 entrances to Mariu Mountain and all the passages. Chu Lang was relieved and smiled. Third Master, it's a pleasure to work with you. It's a pleasure to work with you. The worst thing was that below her collarbone, on her flawless white skin, there was a black rose tattooed. Every move is vague, adding a touch of dark temptation. It's simply an amazing fairy. Yi Hanyu clearly saw that Chu Lang's Adam's apple moved twice with difficulty, and then he revealed a charming smile. Those people want to see me dance, but they are just dreaming. Xiao Wu, I will help you today. Do you want to see me dance for you? Just for you. There were only 2 people left in the entire bar. The atmosphere is subtle. Chu Lang licked his dry lips. Forget it, second sister is already very tired. How can you be tired dancing for your brother? Xiao Wu, just tell your sister if you want to see it. The kind without many clothes, okay. Chu Lang's Adam's apple moved again. Yi Hanyu is really an enchanting beauty who can kill people. It's so deadly. No, it's not good, right? You say no with your mouth, but your body is very honest. Yi Hanyu covered her mouth with her hands and smiled, then turned and walked towards the dance floor. Her back was curvy and graceful, like an elegant cat. The music starts and the charm spreads. The dance in the palm ends, the sound of the flute stops, the autumn night in the 36 palaces is long. Chu Lang finally understood why Emperor Cheng would mislead the people because of Zhao Feiyan. Fairies can really make people give up the human world. Xiao Wu, is my sister beautiful? Yi Hanyu's smile was as beautiful as a flower, and with bursts of strange fragrance, it stimulated every nerve of Chu Lang. Chu Lang took a deep breath, thinking that such a perfect woman was beaten seriously for his sake and became a vegetable for 18 years. I couldn't help but feel pity and regret, and my mouth was dry and my nerves were agitated. Chu Lang lost his sanity further. Beautiful, very beautiful. Do you want to see a more beautiful side of your sister? Chapter 15, Killing the Goose That Lays the Egg. Is it possible that the long-cherished wish that has been buried in my heart for 20 years will begin to come true today? Chu Lang, who was used to endless storms, was actually like an ignorant teenager at this moment. He was so nervous that he was sweating all over and was at a loss. Why are you so nervous, Xiao Wu? Are you still? Snap, snap. Just as Yi Hanyu and Chu Lang were about to step out, the entire bar suddenly lit up. Countless rays of light shone on the 2 of them, instantly sweeping away all the thoughts that had just been aroused. The subtle atmosphere was destroyed and all that was left was awkwardness. What are you 2 doing? You haven't come home yet so late, and your phones are turned off. Don't you think your elder sister and the others at home are worried? The tall and attractive Shen Qian stood on the dance floor with a cold and majestic look. What are you doing hugging each other? Are you trying to pile up like a pyramid? The 2 became even more embarrassed and quickly let go. Fourth sister, hee hee. Fourth sister, hee hee. Shen Qian looked down at the 2 of them like a goddess judging the world. Second sister, from now on, until this gambler kid changes his ways, I will not allow any of you to get close to him. Listen to me, kid. If I find out you've drugged the other 3 sisters again, I'll personally castrate you. Murderous. Chu Lang suddenly felt a cool breeze blowing from below and swallowed hard. I understand. Now that you know, why don't you pack up and come home with me? The 2 of them followed Shen Qian dejectedly and took a taxi all their way home. As for cars, the last one in the family was mortgaged by Jiyu Qingcheng and given to Chu Lang. Seeing his 2 sisters taking a taxi home so late, Chu Lang secretly encouraged himself and decided to wait for a while until he had sorted out everything, and he would definitely let his sisters live the best life. With this thought in mind, Chu Lang took a cold shower, extinguished the restlessness ignited by Yi Hanyu, and fell asleep. At the same time, on the other side, another person couldn't sleep. Have you found out? Who is that bastard? Brother Guangfar, we are already investigating. If you find out, notify me immediately. As long as that bastard is not someone important, I will bring people to kill him right away. Ji Guangfar was so angry that he slammed the table and hit the bench. His entire lifelong reputation was ruined today. At this time, someone else shouted loudly, Brother Guangfar, a business call has come. There is a man who claims to be Jin Rui from some bank and wants us to teach a guy named Chu Lang a lesson. What? Ji Guangfar slammed the table and stood up. Connect me to his number. I have something to ask him. In the next few days, everything went in an orderly manner. On the Entcoin side, The steady flow of 1.5 to 600,000 into Chu Lang's account every day finally allowed Chu Lang to experience again the feeling of making a fortune every day. But Chu Lang knew that this thing was a side job and could only be a temporary windfall, not a long-term one. As soon as the electricity bill from Li's machinery factory arrives, or as soon as Wu Shangxi discovers his identity, everything will be ruined. Fortunately, after another 5 days, Chu Lang had another 8 or 9 million yuan of funds to operate. However, it is still a drop in the bucket compared to the 30 million yuan that the eldest sister owes, not to mention that Chu Lang himself still owes more than 10 million yuan in foreign debt. As for Chongming mining, everything is ready. Chu Lang put all his money into it, and the mining license was officially issued. Now the 1-year mining rights for the entire Mariu Mountain belong to Chu Lang. The accident investigation team went back yesterday. According to the timeline, Chu Lang deduced that in 3 days, the official will announce the information about the Mariu Mountain spodumene mine. By then, Mariu Mountain will make a national sensation. In 3 days, my eldest sister will sign the equity transfer agreement. 3 more days. Within 3 days, the assets must increase 3 times to prevent Jiang Wendong from investing in Qingcheng Group and completely eliminate the eldest sister's crisis. Then he would wipe out Jiang Wendong and the Jiang family behind him in one fell swoop, and support Qingcheng Group to become the commercial overlord of Shangjiang City. Brother Lang, you've already invested 8 or 9 million, when will it end? Recently, many people have been secretly laughing at us, saying that the suddenly emerging Chongming mining is a bunch of fools. They invested so much money in a barren Marliu mountain. Are they going to cut down Marliu trees and sell them for money? Although I don't know where your money came from, but you lost it all in a year, Brother Lang, how are you going to explain this to your sisters? The fat man reported to Chu Lang with a sad face and full of anxiety. Don't be impatient. Let the bullets fly for a while. Have you sorted out the various points marked on the map I gave you? The fat man was honest, but he was methodical in his work. Okay, there are 4 areas in the southeast, northwest, and northeast, a total of 46 points. Why are you marking these points? Sell for money. Chu Lang smiled like an old fox. Since the cost and difficulty of developing the product by himself were too high and the speed was too slow, he thought of a better way to quickly recoup his investment and make a profit. Outsourcing. There are many spodumene mines in Mariu Mountain, but not every mine can produce spodumene. In his previous life, after Chu Lang lost everything and had nowhere to go, he was kidnapped and taken to Mariu Mountain to mine. He remembered these mining sites clearly. It can determine which mining sites have ores and which are pits, more accurately than machines. The fat man was stunned. Sell it for money. Yes, remember who is laughing at us. Jiang Chemical posted a mocking post on Weibo, which is very infuriating. When the time comes, I'll sell the 3 spots to him at 3 times the price. Jiang's Chemical is Jiang Wendong's family business, and we must destroy it without mercy. After hanging up the phone, Chu Lang was just about to walk out of the Li family machinery factory. At the factory gate, I saw 2 official staff in uniform verifying something in the security room. When Chu Lang saw the 2 men's uniforms, his heart suddenly tightened and he moved closer to eavesdrop. Your factory's electricity consumption has been a bit abnormal recently. Take us to see your leader. Chu Lang was secretly frightened, he was about to be exposed. So he immediately turned around, stopped the Antracoin mining machine, and then sold all the coins. After cashing out the last 500,000 yuan and deleting all the information, he called Li Xiu. As soon as the call was connected, before Chu Lang could say anything, Li Xiu's voice came over impatiently. Brother Lang, it's been so many days. Have you managed to trick your sister? The place has been letting money go a lot recently. Hammer and the others have won more than 500,000. Let's go and win some money quickly. As a broker of the casino, Li Xiu thought Chu Lang was the same Chu Lang as before, and used various high-interest offers to tempt Chu Lang to go out and have fun. Recently, Li Xiu has taken more than 200,000 yuan from Chu Lang in bits and pieces, and he still thinks it is not enough and wants more. If that doesn't work, there are few bosses who want me to find some celebrity girls to accompany them for drinking. How about you introduce your 3rd sister to them? The introduction fee is 100,000 yuan, and we'll take care of it first. Chu Lang sneered in his heart. In the previous life, his 3rd sister died by falling from a building after accompanying someone to drink. It was not enough for this bastard to drag himself into the abyss of gambling, but he even wanted to harm Luo Hongchen. The money is in place, come to the factory now. The official has arrived, it's time to send Li Xiu to hell. Really? That's great. I'll be there right away. Li Xiu said impatiently. As soon as Chu Lang hung up the phone, another call came in. It was from Wu Shangxi. A week had passed, and Wu Shangxi was not a philanthropist. He urged Chu Lang to pay the money for the mining machine. Chu Lang also asked him to go to the factory to settle everything. Then, Li Xiu couldn't wait to come to the factory and find Chu Lang. He saw Chu Lang standing at the door, smoking with an expressionless face, staring at him with deep eyes. Li Xiu quickly stepped forward and asked, Lang, where's the money? Chu Lang took a deep puff of cigarette and said indifferently, let's talk about the money later, Mauzi, I want to ask you something. What's the matter? Ask quickly, get the money quickly, and let's go have a big meal. Are you still thinking about money when you are about to die? Chu Lang put out his cigarette. Mao Zai, let me ask you, do you know that you are bastard? Chapter 16. It's time. Li Xiu was confused. He didn't understand why Chu Lang, who had always regarded him as a close friend, would suddenly ask this. Lang, what's wrong with you? Chu Lang laughed mockingly, in fact, you know that you are a bastard. Li Xiu originally treated Chu Lang as a fat pig to be slaughtered, and the fat pig actually dared to scold him. Li Xiu got furious on the spot. Fuck you. What the hell are you talking about? Hurry up and get the money and go to the venue. Stop talking bullshit. Compared to Li Xiu's rage, Chu Lang seemed very calm. He didn't even look at Li Xiu and just lit a cigarette. Since you instigated me to gamble, not counting the usurious interest, I lost my sister more than 39 million, and you got at least 6 million in commission from me. Chu Lang sounded like he was asking, but his tone was very firm. Smoke rings are curling. Bullshit. We always lose together. If you keep biting me, I'll fucking kill you. Li Xiu never expected that Chu Lang would suddenly realize it, which made Li Xiu feel guilty and angry. Chu Lang had seen a lot of ups and downs, so he took out a photo calmly. Above is a photo of him and his 4 sisters, with the orphanage in the background. They were all very young at that time. My eldest sister will be forced to take pills and commit suicide because of my loss of shares and equity. Chu Lang's eyes were dim, with anger and regret constantly surging up in his body, as if he couldn't tell the difference between his past life and this life. What are you talking about? If you don't go to the place, I will let those fucking loan sharks come to you right now. This is my second sister. Isn't she pretty? She might fight with the creditors to save me and be beaten into a vegetable. Chu Lang's voice became even colder. This is my third sister. She is the celebrity you instigated to accompany drinking. She might jump off the building and commit suicide after one drinking session. My fourth sister. Having said this, Chu Lang's eyes have turned red. I admit that my lack of determination was a factor, but your guidance, you bastard, also played a role. There was endless anger and murderous intent surging in his chest, but on his face, there was an expression as cold as ice. I don't know what you're talking about. Li Xiu suddenly discovered that the extremely familiar, cowardly and greedy Chu Lang had changed strangely in temperament. It made his heart palpitate. It was like being stared at by an evil dragon emerging from the abyss, and it was a fear that went deep into the soul. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? Har har, of course I'm going to kill you. Li Xiu was confused by Chu Lang's sudden change and immediately became furious. Alpaca, you gambler, you dare to pick a fight with me. Yes. It was me who encouraged you to gamble, and it was me who set up the pig-killing scheme, so that you lost everything. So what? I have tens of millions of assets, and I know more people in society than you do. What can you, a gambler, do to me? Li Xiu pointed at Chu Lang's nose and cursed him wildly. At this moment, I suddenly heard the sound of footsteps coming from the side. Is this the high-voltage power plant that bastard built? Li Xiu's father, Li Yang, came over aggressively with a dozen people. Li Xiu hurriedly went up to him. Dad. Why are you here? Rebellious son. Li Yang slapped Li Xiu in the face, stunning him. Chu Lang smiled. He knew all this would happen, but Li Yang's performance was a little more irritable than he had imagined. However, it was good. What's wrong, Dad? Starting from the early morning of July 14th, the power consumption of the machinery factory increased significantly, with the daily power consumption reaching more than 1 million yuan. In just less than 7 days, our machinery factory spent a total of 8.26 million yuan on electricity. Boom? Li Xiao was dumbfounded. You should know that the average electricity bill of their machinery factory is only over 300,000 yuan per month, and less than 4 million yuan per year. This is their total electricity bill for more than 2 years. 8,260,000. Their annual turnover is not even this much. How so? It was you, a bastard, who built this high-voltage power plant. If the people from the Power Supply Bureau hadn't come to find me, I would still be in the dark about it. Li Yang rushed into the factory in a rage and was stunned by the densely packed Endcoin mining machines. Dad, these are all old machines that Chu Lang made to deceive his sister. Are you mistaken? You idiot. This is an Endcoin mining machine. You've been fooled, idiot. More than 8 million. Our factory doesn't even have that much cash. I'm going to fucking kill you, you bastard. Endcoin mining machine. Li Xiao was so frightened that his hair stood on end. Then came Li Yang's slaps, which hit Li Xiao's face repeatedly, as dense as raindrops. Chu Lang's smoke circle drifted away as he watched the performance of the father and son indifferently, his expression deep and cold. Chu Lang, fuck you, you're screwing me. Dad. Stop hitting me. He is Chu Lang. He is the one who caused everything here. Go find him. Li Xiao pointed at Chu Lang and accused him. You are Chu Lang? You are the one who paid my electricity bill of over 8 million. Chu Lang, yes. Asshole. Do you think you can spend my Li family's money? Chu Lang remained calm. It's just over 8 million, calm down. Otherwise you will lose more. He still had time to light up a cigarette. He had actually quit smoking a long time ago, but started smoking again today. Technical department. Someone, come in and find the data for me. Once you find the data evidence, kill him. Soon, a bunch of people with glasses came and said in embarrassment, mining and currency issuance, identity information, all data are lost, the other party's technology is too advanced, we can't recover it. Chu Lang's smile finally bloomed on his face. With the advanced technology of the previous 20 years, how can these people compare with him? The calmer Chu Lang was, the more frustrated and angry Li Yang and his son became. Chu Lang, the money is with you. Pay my family back. You are a robber. A robber. Cigarettes scattered, and the man's voice was low and cold. Robber. No, I, Chu, have crawled back from the cycle of hell, and I want to send all of you little ghosts to hell one by one. So I am your Li family, the god of death. I'm going to kill you. Li Xiao lost his mind and pretended to hit Chu Lang. Roll. Bang. Before Li Xiao could make a move, Chu Lang kicked him in the stomach, knocking him to the ground. 20 years. He has been looking forward to this kick, this day, for 20 years. It's so childish and ridiculous to hear the word death coming from someone like you. Li Yang stopped Li Xiao and stared at Chu Lang. Little boy, you are really cruel to spend more than 8 million yuan on my electricity bill. However, you are not the only cruel person in this society. These machines of yours are in my factory. You just said that there is no contract, so the machines are ownerless, right? Come here, smash them for me. 5,000 units are probably worth more than 8 million. If you dare to cheat me, I will make him lose everything. Bang, bang, bang. There were crackling noises in the factory, and soon 5,000 mining machines were smashed to pieces. Stop. What are you doing? Wu Shangshi's voice came, and he walked over angrily with his men. Boss Wu. Why are you here? Wu Shangshi is a new technology upstart and is far beyond the reach of Li Yang. Why did you smash Mr. Chu's machine? What's going on, Mr. Chu? Li Xiao hurriedly shouted, Boss Wu, what Mr. Chu? He is just a good-for-nothing gambler. What? Wu Shangshi was stunned. Gambling dog. Mr. Chu? Li Xiao hurriedly introduced Chu Lang's background in detail. Wu Shangshi's face was uncertain. Mr. Chu, you? Yes, I am now a gambler. I cheated you, I'm sorry. I was going to return the machine to you, but it was accidentally smashed by Li Xiao's father. Sorry. Chu Lang actually still felt sorry for Wu Shangshi. After all, he was the one who deceived her. Wu Shangshi was horrified. His eyes were fixed on the messy factory building. This is my mining machine. Li Yan, you have to pay for my mining machine. Li Yang's heart sank suddenly, isn't it Chu Lang's? After Wu Shangxi realized that he had been cheated and lost all his money, his face turned red and white. He hasn't paid yet. The formal contract hasn't even been signed. It's your son who signed the guarantee contract. 5,000 mining machines, the discount is 40 million for you, you lose money. Li Yang's eyes widened and his defenses collapsed. The guarantee agreement signed by my son? I just had someone spend 40 million on me. It's over. The Li family is all finished. He finally understood what Chu Lang meant when he told him to calm down, otherwise he would suffer greater losses. Puff. Li Yang finally couldn't survive such a heavy blow. He turned his head and fainted on the spot. Wu Shangxi is not a philanthropist. He doesn't care whether you fainted or not. He picked up his phone and made a call. Hey, notify the legal department. The Li family machinery factory destroyed our mining machine worth 40 million. If the guarantor Li Xiao can't come up with that much money, immediately sue the Li family machinery factory and apply for a bank auction to pay off the debt. No. Boss Wu, don't do that. Li Xiao sat on the ground dejectedly. It was over. His home was gone. Chu Lang, you damn bastard, I will chop you into pieces. Chu Lang pointed at Li Xiao and said, I'm not messing with you to prove how much I hate you. I just want to get back what I lost. You ruined my family, so I'm going to bankrupt you. Isn't that too much? In the previous life, he led Chu Lang into the abyss, causing Chu Lang to lose everything and even kill his sister. In this life, he was the first one to be completely cheated by Chu Lang. The Li family machinery factory changed hands overnight. Li Xiao lost all his fortune for the sake of a few $100,000 in profit. Outside, Wu Shangxi stared at Chu Lang. Mr. Chu is so cruel. Boss Wu, I'm sorry, I owe you a favor this time. Is your favor valuable? Wall Street, Mr. Chu. It was obvious that Wu Shangxi was mocking Chu Lang. But he didn't lose out this time. After all, he got the Li family machinery factory. I just felt unwilling to be fooled by Chu Lang. Chapter 17 New and Old Hatred. Chu Lang frowned and looked at his phone anxiously. The news about the spodumene mine should have been exposed yesterday, but no manuscript was published today. Did something happen? But the arrow has been drawn and must be shot. Sister, I'll go with you. This day was the beginning of their family's tragedy. Chu Lang still clearly remembered that night in his previous life, when Jiyu Qingcheng came back drunk and dispirited, put the bank card in front of him, and warned him never to gamble again. At that time, Chu Lang was already obsessed and unable to extricate himself. When Chu Lang thinks about it now, even after 20 years, he still feels very sad. Transferring equity is actually no different from ceding land. Even when funds were so tight, Jiyu Qingcheng still left some money for Chu Lang to pay off his debts, which was really the most kind thing she could do. But later on, Jiyu Qingcheng had not expected that the cost of equal shares but unequal voting rights would be so high that her big project had no chance to be launched. It was blocked by Jiang Wendong and was forced to be terminated, resulting in the loss of all the initial investment. They had to switch to other businesses, from a factory to a real estate project. Then they became insolvent and collapsed. If Chu Lang's later investigation was correct, the big project of his elder sister should be a battery chemical plant. This is also one of the reasons why Chu Lang is so persistent in obtaining the mining rights of Mariu Mountain. With the conditions of foresight, there are many industries with huge profits. When Chu Lang chooses an industry, he must of course consider his sisters. How to make the sisters comfortable is Chu Lang's unshirkable responsibility. Noxus Hotel. This is where the equity transfer meeting was held. Xiao Wu, I'm glad you're here to learn and exercise, but after you go in, remember to talk less, don't talk nonsense, watch more, learn more, understand. In the end, Chu Lang successfully obtained the right to follow his elder sister on the grounds of learning business from her. I know, big sister, don't worry. Follow Jiyu Qingcheng into the Noxus Hotel. Go up to the 7th floor. Jiyu Qingcheng did not go directly into the conference room, but came to a small reception room next to it. Inside, there were already several people waiting there. They are all senior executives of Qingcheng Group. Seeing Jiyu Qingcheng coming in, these people stood up one after another. Mr. Jiyu. Among these people, some were people Chu Lang knew and some were unfamiliar. One of them, a young man with gold-rimmed glasses, caught Chu Lang's attention. Zhongkang. This person's current identity should be Jiyu Qingchang's assistant. After the Qingchang group was slowly eroded by Jiang Wendong, Zhang Kang unexpectedly became the CEO of the Qingchang group. After further investigation, Chu Lang discovered that it was this person who secretly planned the equity transfer of Qingchang group. He arranged for Jiang Wendong, the evil wolf, to help Jiyu Qingchang and use the trick of internal and external cooperation to lure the wolf into their house. Even after Chu Lang succeeded and cut this man into pieces, he still could not make up for his previous mistakes and deep hatred. Seeing this person again, Chu Lang's hatred was ignited again. Zhang Kang didn't know that Chu Lang had already included him in the must-kill list. He stood up and said calmly, "Boss Jiyu, everything is ready. The funds from Jiang Chemical are in place. Once we sign, we will get a huge amount of funds and technical support from Jiang. The battery chemical plant can be put into operation smoothly immediately." Zhang Kang pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and spoke in a very persuasive manner. However, Jiang's company has slightly modified the contract. After the 20% stake, they want 51% of the shares. After all, they need to lead the production and research and development of the battery chemical plant. I think there is no problem with this plan. Please take a look. Here we come. The company's unequal voting rights are ruined. Chu Lang's brows suddenly furrowed as he looked at the letter of intent handed to Jiyu Qingchang. Equal shares with different rights? It's like using 20% of the money, 32 million, to buy 100% of the shares. You really know how to calculate, har har. Chu Lang sneered at the side. Chu Lang felt mixed emotions when he finally saw the culprit document that caused countless casualties in his family. It turned out to be something that was concocted by this guy named Zhang. Zhang Kang glanced at Chu Lang and his heart skipped a beat. I felt something was wrong. So he hurriedly urged, "Boss Jiyu, this is just a stopgap measure. Once we get through this difficult time, we can slowly find a way to kick Jiang out. If the equity is gone, it's gone. Can the shares disappear without a trace? Moreover, the situation is urgent now. The battery chemical plant project also needs funds to come in immediately. And you have to take care of your outstanding brother. We can't afford to waste time." Zhang Kang emphasized the words, "a rare talent among men," very much, causing several company executives around him to cover their mouths and snicker. Everyone knows what kind of person Mr. Gu's brother is. If Mr. Gu's brother hadn't lost all his money, Mr. Jiyu wouldn't have been forced to sell his shares. Jiyu Qingchang frowned and glared at Zhang Kang with dissatisfaction. It's not okay to say that about your own brother, but you're the only one who can say that. If someone else says something about it, it's an offense. Chu Lang sneered, and all the new and old hatreds surged up in his mind. Assistant Zhang, if you are a dog, you must have the awareness of being a dog. The most important thing for a dog is loyalty. If a dog is not only unfaithful but also bites its owner, then this dog should be killed and eaten. Everyone's eyes twitched wildly. Chu Lang actually said that. What did you say? Zhang Kang was furious. He despised Chu Lang extremely. How could such an arrogant Zhang Kang tolerate being insulted by a loser? You are a gambling dog, how dare you scold me? Bang! Not only did I scold you, I also beat you. What do you want to do? Xiao Wu. Chu Lang slapped Zhang Kang in the face, and Jiyu Qingchang hurriedly stopped him. Xiao Wu's personality has indeed changed a lot recently, which has also slightly changed Jiyu Qingchang's opinion, but Zhang Kang is a senior executive in the company and his right-hand man, so he can't be lost. Big sister, let me do it. Chu Lang turned around and gave Jiyu Qingchang a reassuring look, then walked up to Zhang Kang and grabbed his collar. The company belongs to my sister is mine, and you are just a dog. Not only will I beat you, I will also order you that from now on, you are fired for dereliction of duty. Zhao Piyu of the Song dynasty once said, to resist foreign aggression, we must first stabilize the country. Faced with a powerful enemy, Chu Lang did not have the time to talk too much with Zhang Kang. He directly used thundering means to eliminate the unstable factors around Jiyu Qingchang. Jiyu Qingchang was also dumbfounded, especially when she heard the words, "My sister is mine," and saw Chu Lang's violent methods. She bit her lower lip tightly with a complicated expression. Let me go. What right do you have to fire me? I'm the company's vice president and assistant to the president. I'm a core executive of the company. If you fire me, no one in the company will agree. I can't be fired by a gambler like you. The company executives around him echoed one by one, "Boss Gu, please say something. Boss Gu, the company is in danger of financial constraints because of this person. Are you going to let him do whatever he wants? Mr. Gu." Everyone was outraged. "Har har, I fired him for my own reasons. Zhongkang, let me ask you a few questions." Chu Lang curled the corners of his mouth, and immediately, a sharp and fierce aura emerged from Chu Lang. Chapter 18 Goodbye Jiang Wendong. Zhongkang felt guilty for no reason, but then he felt ashamed and angry. "How could I be frightened by a gambler? You must be kidding. What do you want to ask? Since they want to acquire Qingcheng, they must go through our audit. Tell me, what is their SOFP? Have they sent us their profit and loss statements?" The angry Zhongkang was speechless for a moment. He and the other party worked together from inside and outside because they were sure that Jiu Qingcheng was anxious to cash out. "I never thought of asking the other company for the balance sheet and income statement." And Chu Lang predicted his prediction. "I am sure that this traitorous grandson will never go to Jiang Wendong to ask for these things." Because Chu Lang was planning to deal with Jiang Wendong later, he spent time investigating Jiang Wendong and his family business. It was discovered that this company's accounts had actually been in the red all along, but on the surface it was still thriving. It was not until Chu Lang uprooted them that all their losses came to light. Therefore, Chu Lang also concluded that it was impossible for Jiang's Chemical to show these accounts to a company they wanted to acquire. And Zhongkang, Jiang Wendong's dog, didn't dare to ask his master for mercy. "Yes, the other party is the acquirer, and I think there will be no problem with funding, so, I didn't take it. HMPH, I don't want to know what you think, I want to know what I think." The oppressive force displayed by Chu Lang made the top executives of Qingcheng Group around him feel a little suffocated. Is this really that good-for-nothing gambler? Why does it look like he is the chairman of the company, and CEO Gu is his mistress? Seeing Zhongkang's embarrassed expression, Chu Lang continued to ask, "There is also a cash flow and owner's equity change schedule, as well as the business plan. Have you got it? Sister, have you seen it?" Gu Qingcheng looked at Chu Lang in surprise, a little unresponsive. How come Xiao Wu knew everything? So he shook his head, "I haven't seen it." Chu Lang stared at Zhongkang again. Why didn't Mr. Gu get the watch? Zhongkang's face turned slightly pale. Just now, when Chu Lang wanted to fire him, he just thought it was the nonsense of a gambler. But the loophole that Chu Lang found now is indeed his fatal problem. "Oh, yes, those things take a long time to prepare, and Mr. Gu needs the funds urgently, so I kept everything simple." Zhongkang found a reason that he thought was foolproof. "Humph. If I'm not mistaken, the other party should be Jiang's Chemical, right? Did you know that Jiang's Chemical has had frequent personnel changes recently? 2 vice presidents have left, and before the new year, they were also exposed for falsifying financial reports. The company suffered heavy losses. If they are trying to acquire Qingcheng and transfer the risks, can you bear the responsibility?" In fact, Chu Lang only found out later that Jiang's Chemical's accounts were not clean. As for whether there were problems exposed before the new year and whether the vice president had gone through it, he had no idea. But his momentum is so strong now that it is impossible to doubt what he says. Zhongkang's sweat was dripping down and his face was pale. Aye. HMPH, you can't tell, right? You know whether you want to keep everything simple or betray your family. Assistant Zhong, you are fired for neglecting your duties. You can get out now." "No." Zhongkang was caught by Chu Lang's weakness and driven away directly, which made him very anxious. Jiang Wendong promised to use him and give him benefits, but all this was based on the fact that he was an undercover agent beside Jiu Qingcheng. If he had no value, he would be a waste. Why would Jiang Wendong invest in him? "Boss Jiu, I have been in the company for so many years. Even if I have not made any contributions, I have worked hard. I am an old servant who has followed you step by step to build the empire. You can't just fire me. I was the one who contacted Jiang Wendong. Without me, the share transfer would not have been successful." Jiu Qingcheng looked at Chu Lang in embarrassment. Chu Lang was indeed different today, and she had always felt that there might be something wrong with Zhongkang. But she is very short of money now and needs to transfer her shares urgently. The contract date for the battery chemical plant is to enter the site tomorrow. The site, workers, and equipment are all ready. If the funds are not in place, something big will happen. Xiao Wu, look at this. Without John the Butcher, would we still be eating hairy pigs? Get him out of here. But Ji Qingcheng. Chu Lang suddenly raised his voice, which immediately stunned Ji Qingcheng. She stared at Chu Lang blankly, and a trace of awe and grievance appeared on her beautiful face. This is the superior demeanor that Chu Lang has developed over the past 20 years. Seeing Ji Qingcheng's aggrieved expression, Chu Lang's heart softened. He held Ji Qingcheng's cheek and comforted her softly. You can do whatever you want with your company in the future. But you must listen to me today. From now on, you have only one person you can trust forever, and that is Chu Lang. Be good and listen. Today is the beginning of all the tragedies in the previous life. Even Chu Lang is a little nervous and will not allow any mistakes. In the past, Chu Lang was timid when asked for money, and frivolous and presumptuous when not asking for money. How could he be like today, with a demeanor as strong as a mountain, shocking the whole situation? Ji Qingcheng obediently let Chu Lang hold her face. Okay. No. Mr. Ji, you are putting personal interests above public ones. You will not win the support of others. This person will ruin the company. Zhang Kang was completely panicked. Chu Lang sneered, if you don't accept it, you can get out now. If the company goes bankrupt, I will compensate my eldest sister's family. If anyone doesn't accept it, stand up. The whole audience was silent. That's settled then. The rest of you get ready and go to the conference room to meet the people from Jian Chemical. Big sister, your assistant today is me, Chu Lang. Following behind Chu Lang, Ji Qingcheng pouted in dissatisfaction. From the looks of it, you are almost the boss. Aren't you here to learn? Why are you trying to seize power right at the start? I can learn more by following you. Chu Lang was the first to enter the meeting room next door. Ji Qingcheng looked deeply at Chu Lang's back. Even she herself felt that the decision was a bit crazy. How could she dismiss Zhang Kang and let Chu Lang take the lead? This would have been unimaginable in the past, but Ji Qingcheng felt a lot more at ease for no apparent reason. It was strange. On this side, Zhang Kang, who stayed where he was, looked red and white in the face. Finally, I got through to Jiang Wendorn. Hey, Mr. Jiang, things have changed. That gambler Chu Lang actually used his personal connections to take me down. You must help and beat that Chu Lang down. This guy is a bit weird today. A voice came from the phone. Is it that Chu Lang again? I know how to control them, so you don't have to worry about it. Jin Rui mentioned Chu Lang last time, and Jiang Wendorn heard the name again. Over there, the door of the conference room opened, and Chu Lang finally saw again the person he hated the most in his life, Jiang Wendorn. Chapter 19, Not Playing by the Rules. Jiang Wendorn is now 27 or 28 years old. He was wearing black-framed glasses and was not particularly handsome, but from time to time, his narrow eyes would flash with a cold light, which made people shudder. Even though this man was cut into pieces by Chu Lang later, seeing him again at this moment still made Chu Lang hate and despise him from the bottom of his heart. Not to mention once, even if I kill him 10,000 times, I won't feel relieved. Hello, Mr. Jiang. Ji Qingcheng greeted Jiang Wendorn very friendly, and it was not difficult to see that the two had known each other for a long time. There are a total of 6 people on Jiang Wendorn's side. Except for the man with a fierce look and a fierce face next to Jiang Wendorn, the others are all well-mannered and seem to be the senior executives of Jian Chemical. Hearing Ji Qingcheng's greeting, no one responded. Jiang Wendorn only said indifferently, Boss Ji, you are 3 minutes late. As soon as he arrived here, Jiang Wendorn gave Ji Qingcheng a warning. Mr. Jiang, please listen to my explanation. Boss Ji, when you cooperate with my Jiang family, you need to understand one thing, that is, there is no excuse. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Jiang Wendorn's oppressive power was extremely strong. Not only was Ji Qingcheng unable to adapt to it, but even his subordinates, who knew his temper, showed fear on their faces and swallowed their saliva with difficulty. Okay, I'm sorry. Big sister. Seeing that Ji Qingcheng was oppressed by Jiang Wendorn's aura, Chu Lang actually apologized and immediately interrupted Ji Qingcheng's voice. Mr. Jiang, right? If you want to cooperate with our Qingcheng group, you also need to understand one thing. Mr. Ji is always right, and no one is allowed to criticize Mr. Gu's behavior. This is the first time. I forgive your recklessness, and I hope there will be no next time. Jiang Wendong was very domineering, but Chu Lang was no less domineering. These words directly praised Jiyu Qingcheng above Jiang's chemical, and she completely treated Jiang Wendong as her younger brother. Instantly, all the people at Jiang's chemical industry started discussing indignantly. What a crazy boy! How dare you talk nonsense in front of our president Jiang? I think he is just a newborn calf who is not afraid of tigers. He has never heard of how terrifying Mr. Jiang is. Who needs whose funds? I think he is just looking for death. Jiang Wendong's people discussed, while the people from Qingcheng Group looked at each other. It's over. I knew this kid would cause big trouble, but I didn't expect that he would be so confused when we met. He. Jiang Wendong laughed, a laugh that was a result of extreme anger. Brother, young people should not be too impetuous. It will bring bad luck. What's the point of calling yourself a young man if you're not angry? Mr. Jiang is even more angry than me. If anyone is going to have bad luck, it will probably be Mr. Jiang who will suffer first. Chu Lang refused to give in. The air was suddenly filled with the smell of sulfur. Jiang Wendong's eyes were filled with murderous intent. What's your name? Chu Lang is now in his early 20s, several years younger than Jiang Wendong, so it is not an exaggeration for the other party to call him brother. Chu Lang is now Mr. Gu's assistant. Jiang Wendong looked at Chu Lang carefully, and felt that the man in front of him was unfathomable. It's not at all like what Jin Rui and Zhang Kang said, a complete gambler. Even so, Jiang Wendong didn't think that he would be taken over by a young man like Chu Lang, and sneered, if I remember correctly, Mr. Gu's assistant is Zhang Kang, and he is also the helmsman who facilitated this acquisition. Where is assistant Zhang? I was fired for not being a good dog. Chu Lang took Jiyu Qingcheng's hand and sat down. Jiang Wendong waved his hand and said, I think you guys should just stop sitting down. Jiyu Qingcheng's face was anxious, and his subordinates also changed color. Mr. Jiang, what do you mean? Jiyu Qingcheng asked puzzled. Jiang Wendong felt a little relieved when he saw Jiyu Qingcheng's expression. This is the expression and attitude that Qingcheng Group should have. That Chu Lang seems abnormal no matter how you look at him. What do I mean? You might as well ask Mr. Jiyu what he means. Zhang Kang is the helmsman of this acquisition, and I agreed to invest to help Mr. Jiyu overcome the difficulties only for his sake. This change of leadership at the last minute, and the arrival of such an ignorant person, is clearly disgusting to me. I think this cooperation is completely unnecessary. You guys go. Jiyu Qingcheng was extremely anxious. All her hopes now lie on Jiang Chemical. If they do not agree to invest, Qingcheng Group will collapse immediately. Mr. Jiang, Jiyu Qingcheng was about to explain when Chu Lang grabbed her slender and soft hand. Then he smiled and said, okay, there's no point in talking if we don't agree. If we can't reach an agreement, then forget it. But if I remember correctly, the conference room should be rented by our company, and if we have to leave, it should be Mr. Jiang who leaves. I won't see you off. Jiang Wendong's pupils shrank and he couldn't believe his ears. He thought that even if Chu Lang was used by Jiyu Qingcheng as a surprise attack and did not play by the rules, he would not dare to refuse his funds. But Chu Lang really did it, and he did it without any hesitation. Xiao Wu, what are you doing? Listen to my eldest sister today. If something goes wrong, I will accompany you to the Qingcheng Group. In his previous life, Chu Lang never liked being led by the nose during negotiations. Not to mention that he couldn't make himself comfortable when facing his mortal enemy. Jiang Wendong was so angry that he was fuming. From the moment he came in and started to show his power, he had been playing a psychological game with the Qingcheng Group. He knew for sure that Jiyu Qingcheng would not dare to turn against him, and he wanted to get the greatest benefit from this acquisition at the lowest cost. But this Chu Lang didn't play by the rules at all and just turned the table over. Who can I go to for justice? But now it is Jiang Wendong's turn to be in a difficult situation. He also wanted to invest in Qingcheng Group and take it over. But the words have been spoken. If he admits defeat now, where will Jiang Wendong put his face? Bang! Jiang Wendong slammed the table and stood up. Compared to Chu Lang, who was calm from beginning to end, he lost his composure. It also means that his mind is in a mess, and when his mind is in a mess, the knife becomes slower. Okay. I wanted to give your Qingcheng Group a chance. Since you don't know how to cherish it, don't blame me, Jiang Wendong, for being unkind. From now on, Jiang Chemical will no longer have any cooperation with Qingcheng Group. Goodbye. Jiang Wendong stood up and walked out the door. Although he was surprised by Chu Lang's irrational behavior, he was still very sure that Qingcheng Group could not do without him. Unfortunately, until he left the meeting room, he still didn't hear any voice from Chu Lang, as if this person couldn't wait for him to leave. There was silence in the meeting room. Boss Jiu, it's over. Jiang Wendong is angry and won't pay us. Our company is going bankrupt. What should I do? Can't I let Assistant John handle this? You have to be so willful. Now you've messed it up. The people in Qingcheng Group were in a panic. Chu Lang finally understood why Jiu Qingcheng was sidelined and swallowed up. Her executives were all useless fools. Shut up, everyone. You all earn millions a year, but your mental quality is worse than that of gamblers in the casino. What else is there to do except to eat and wait for death? How dare you blame us? It was obviously you who messed up everything. A marketing director named Zhao jumped out, pointed at Chu Lang, and finally expressed his dissatisfaction. In at most 20 minutes, Jiang Wendong will come back in. Do you believe it? Chu Lang remained calm as usual, in stark contrast to the panicked crowd. No. They are all pissed off by a gambler like you. Okay, then let's make a bet. If you win, you'll be promoted to vice president. If you lose, you'll be fired. Chu Lang not only has to defend against foreign aggression, but also has to maintain domestic stability and help Jiu Qingcheng lay the most solid foundation for her business empire. Let's bet. Crunch. As soon as he finished speaking, the door of the conference room was pushed open. Chapter 20 Jiang Wendong's Trump Card. Whether in the past life or the present life, Chu Lang has always had a doubt. Why is Jiang Wendong so persistent in investing in Qingcheng Group? Because judging from the development in the previous life, although Jiang Wendong later embezzled the Qingcheng Group and forced Jiu Qingcheng to commit suicide due to insolvency, Jiang Wendong did not make much money in this business battle. Why did he want to harm Jiu Qingcheng? Beauty? Chu Lang did not find out that Jiang Wendong had any improper intentions towards Jiu Qingcheng. If it weren't for this, what else would be worth Jiang Wendong's trouble? Chu Lang doesn't know yet, but what he can be sure of is that Jiang Wendong is very determined to invest in Qingcheng Group. That's enough. Sure enough, it turned out that he guessed right. The moment the door was pushed open again, everyone looked at the door in surprise. Jiang Wendong walked in with his men, looking somewhat embarrassed. Mr. Jiang, did you forget to take any information? Just let me know and I'll have someone deliver it for you. Chu Lang laughed playfully, making Jiang Wendong blush. Humph, I am a qualified businessman. I will not give up the opportunity to make money because of personal feelings. Jiang Wendong's face turned red and white, then he sat down again pretending to be calm. I think the business environment of Qingcheng Group is very suitable for our company to invest. This time, I will not bother with this young assistant for Mr. Gu's sake. Jiu Qingcheng looked at Chu Lang in astonishment. Xiao Wu was so amazing today. It is not an exaggeration to describe it as a master planner. Jiu Qingcheng felt more secure, and her anxious heart slowly settled down. Suddenly she saw Chu Lang raised his sword-like eyebrows. Based on her understanding of Chu Lang, she was sure that this boy could not say anything good, so she quickly pulled Chu Lang's sleeve and said to Jiang Wendong with a smile on the surface. Mr. Jiang is indeed a man of great ability. He is flexible and resilient. Thank you Mr. Jiang for not holding grudges. Now, can we get started? Chu Lang curled his lips. According to his idea, it would not be so easy to let Jiang Wendong step down. But seeing that his elder sister was anxious, Chu Lang still chose to consider her emotions and let her do what she wanted. Jiang Wendong took the opportunity to back off and made a few excuses to cover up the embarrassment of his just-made mistake. But Director Zhao was terrified, fearing that Chu Lang would fulfill his bet. Let's not waste time talking. Since Mr. Jiu is here today, I will also show our Jiang Chemicals sincerity. Here is our acquisition plan. Mr. Jiu, please take a look. Jiu Qingcheng picked up the plan, but it was snatched away by Chu Lang. You use 30 million to buy 20 shares, and you want 5 billion shares. Mr. Jiang is indeed a chemical engineer. This is very corrosive. Originally, Jiang Wendong wanted to talk to Jiu Qingcheng, but seeing Chu Lang's posture, he knew that he couldn't avoid Chu Lang today. Don't be so sarcastic. This is the proposal we agreed on before. What do you think? Not very good, I think. Chu Lang had a scornful smile on his face. Jiang Wendenhai was very naive to play this trick on him. Mr. Jiang's wishful thinking sounds really good. Are you stupid, or do you think others are stupid? Wow. Everyone at Jiang Chemical was filled with indignation. The bodyguard with a fierce face was about to rush out to hit Chu Lang, but fortunately he was stopped by Jiang Wendong. The atmosphere became tense again. Xiao Wu. Ji Qingcheng thought that Chu Lang just took the initiative and the shares still had to be sold. But now from what Chu Lang said, it seems that he has no intention of making a deal at all. Is this still his original intention? The director surnamed Zhao on Qingcheng's side also took the lead and shouted, "Assistant Chu, we had discussed the plan long ago. Why are you?" "Shut up." Chu Lang pointed at Director Zhao. Equal shares with different rights will eventually lead to a serious power imbalance and cause serious business losses to their major shareholders. As a marketing director, how could you not understand this? Tell me, do you understand it? I understand. Director Zhao nodded hurriedly. Remember who you are and whose job you are working for. I hate people whose butts and heads are not in the same camp. Do you understand me? Director Zhao was stared at by Chu Lang with a cold gaze, as if he was pointed at by a shotgun, and said with difficulty, understand. Always support the interests of Qingcheng Group. Protect the rights and interests of President Jiu. Jiang Wendong narrowed his eyes slightly. He didn't expect that this gambler who was rumored to be in the market actually knew the dangers of unequal voting rights for the same shares. However, he had made so many preparations to take over the Qingcheng Group and he absolutely could not give up. Mr. Jiu, I hope you will think about it carefully. The price of rejecting Jiang Chemical. Without our investment, Mr. Jiu will go bankrupt and commit suicide in a matter of minutes. Do you believe it? When he heard the word suicide, a huge amount of anger burst out from Chu Lang's calm expression. Tear. There was a sound of tearing cloth, and the stack of contracts was directly split into two by Chu Lang. With a snap, it fell on Jiang Wendong. No. People on both sides were shocked at the same time. With Chu Lang's attitude just now, they all still held a glimpse that Chu Lang was just trying to test their attitude, but now that he has even torn up the contract, it is obvious that he is unwilling to cooperate. Bang! No matter how cunning Jiang Wendong was, he was made agitated by Chu Lang and slammed the table. Asshole! Chu, you have completely pissed me off. I will make you and Qingcheng Group pay the price. You have actually angered me a long time ago, and the price you paid is even more terrible. Someone. Zhongkang. Come out. Following Jiang Wendong's instructions, Zhongkang appeared in the conference room. Zhongkang. Jiang Wendong sneered, Zhongkang, as their vice president and assistant to the chairman of Qingcheng Group, tell the people below that Qingcheng Group has a huge funding gap, which has angered Jiang Chemical and is on the verge of bankruptcy. Tell all the suppliers and banks below to go to the battery factory and wait. Yes. Zhongkang, how dare you? Jiu Qingcheng was shocked and angry. She didn't expect that Zhongkang, whom she had always trusted, would betray her at this time. Har, Mr. Jiu, since you were unkind first, don't blame me for being unjust. Zhongkang smiled coldly and picked up the phone. I am a senior executive of the company. Have you ever thought about how much shock my words would cause? When have you ever faced up to the importance of us old brothers? Mr. Jiu, you know nothing. All you do is think about your brother. You even want to give him the company. Zhongkang blamed all the guilt on Jiu Qingcheng, leaving her speechless. Even the rest of the people in Qingcheng Group stared at Jiu Qingcheng with somewhat strange expressions. Chu Lang saw Jiu Qingcheng's expression and smiled gently. Sister, don't listen to his nonsense. This person has been having an affair with Jiang Wendong for a long time. It's none of your business at all. Zhongkang looked a little embarrassed. Chu Lang was right. Humph, since ancient times, those who know the current situation are heroes. Qingcheng Group is about to be destroyed. I wonder what else you can use to criticize me. Chapter 21. The building is about to collapse. The meeting room was very quiet, and everyone could hear clearly what was happening on Jiu Qingcheng's phone. Jiu Qingcheng's heart skipped a beat. It's bad. As a former senior executive of the company, although Zhang Kang was suppressed by Chu Lang, the news did not spread. Now his words are very authoritative. Now everyone who has connection with Qingcheng Group is absolutely panicking. The faces of everyone present became colorful. Jiang Chemical was gloating, while Qingcheng Group was worried. Jiang Wendong sat leisurely, staring at Chu Lang. Toughness with a trump card is called toughness. Toughness without a trump card can only be called the arrogance of the ignorant. You belong to the latter. I really don't know who gave you the courage to act so arrogantly in front of someone who could easily crush you. Jiang Wendong laughed after he finished speaking, and his laugh was like a vicious dog. Chu Lang looked at his phone. Do you think you won? Did I lose? Ding-a-ling. At this time, the cell phones of all the senior executives at Qingcheng Group began to ring anxiously. I already know the news. Qingcheng Group is indeed in trouble. Yes, it's over. You guys should get ready. Don't call me anymore. I'm helpless too. President Xiao handed the matter over to a madman, and now things are getting worse and worse. Some of these senior executives took calls from their subordinates, and some took calls from partners and suppliers. They complained bitterly on the phone one by one, and gradually, they no longer took Chu Lang seriously. Boss Xiao, the brothers have been through fire and water for you for so long, it seems that it is time to part ways. You insist on your own way, messing things up for your brother, making a big mess, and not caring about the lives of the brothers. The brothers will not serve you anymore. I resign now. Director Zhao had long been dissatisfied with Chu Lang, so he immediately jumped out, standing on the moral high ground, attacking Chu Lang and looking for an excuse for his escape. Mr. Zhao's departure was like a domino effect, and the others responded one after another. I resign too. Jiu Qingqing's face became more and more gloomy and ugly, her pink fists were clenched, and her beautiful brows were tightly furrowed. I treat you all well. Your salary, bonus and benefits are among the best in the industry. Now that the company is in a critical moment, are you all quitting? Jiu Qingcheng suddenly felt like a failure. In times of crisis, no one stood up to support me. Mr. Jiu, I'm sorry, we are just employees. After the company goes bankrupt, there will definitely be a big mess. We really don't have the energy to help you clean it up. After all, we all have families. I'm sorry. Director Zhao acted as an opinion leader. After he finished speaking, everyone nodded in agreement. You. Jiu Qingcheng was so angry that her eyes turned red. Lao Lin, your wife was sick and had no money, so I lent you 600,000 yuan, right? Hong Mei, you and your husband are getting divorced. I hired the company's legal counsel to help you recover your property bit by bit. Otherwise, your husband would have taken the money and run away with his mistress, right? And you, Xiaoxia. Jiu Qingcheng can be said to have done his best for these subordinates. Those who were named turned their heads away one by one, not daring to look at Jiu Qingcheng. Oh, I get it. A little help is a debt of gratitude, a great help is a debt of resentment. I, Jiu Qingcheng, have finally learned something today. Thinking of those people who had received her kindness and then left so ruthlessly, Jiu Qingcheng's eyes turned red, her nose felt sore, and tears welled up in her beautiful eyes. Suddenly a hand was placed on his shoulder. I was just worried that I wouldn't have the chance to get rid of all those big rats around you who only eat and do nothing, but I didn't expect to have such an unexpected gain. It's really a double blessing. Chu Lang's voice is deep and magnetic. Jiu Qingcheng looked at Chu Lang helplessly. Xiao Wu, I know you are doing this for my own good. It's not that I don't trust you, but now is not the time for you to be willful. Leave it to me. Chu Lang knew that Jiu Qingcheng wanted to do it herself, but she couldn't bear to hurt Chu Lang's feelings, so she spoke very tactfully. Understanding his elder sister's thoughts, Chu Lang felt gentle and warm inside. Big sister, have you forgotten what I told you? The only person you can trust forever is Chu Lang. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. I'm here. What's the big deal about this little storm? Xiao Wu, we really can't do this anymore. Chu Lang stretched out his hand and covered Jiu Qingqing's pink lips. I only mess around at night. I never do that during the day. Seeing Chu Lang's fiery gaze, Jiu Qingqing's pretty face flushed slightly. Xiao Wu's eyes seemed to carry electricity. Har har har. Jiang Wendong couldn't help laughing. You are now on the verge of collapse, deserted by your friends and relatives, yet you are still speaking nonsense. I, Jiang, have seen too many crazy people, and I have to say that you are among the top 3. Just as he finished speaking, an urgent news broadcast suddenly came on the TV on the wall behind him. Urgent news from Shangjiang City. After a period of intensive exploration, a large amount of spodumene ore was discovered in Mariu Mountain, 20 kilometers south of Shangjiang City. The economic value is staggering. It has caused a sensation across the country. This piece of news immediately made the tense atmosphere in the conference room become heated. Jiang Wendong's expression changed drastically. Spodumene mines are the lifeblood of new energy vehicles. We must seize them. Quick, contact the authorities, we want to contract them. Jiang Wendong's family is from a chemical factory, which is also related to batteries, so he quickly gave the order. Mr. Jiang, Mariu Mountain has been contracted to a company called Chongming Mining. Now all companies that want spodumene mines must subcontract from them. What? Jiang Wendong gritted his teeth and said, another disgusting relative. Forget it, let's contact Chongming Mining and tell them that we want to contract the mine. Soon, news came from there. Mr. Jiang, Chongming Mining agreed to contract 3 mines to us, but the market value is 10 million, and they charged us 30 million, which is a bit risky. Asshole, why? They said that President Jiang has a bad reputation and he doesn't like us. Jiang Wendong looked around, feeling a little embarrassed. Chu Lang laughed and said, it seems that I'm not the only one who hates President Jiang. Jiang Wendong glared at Chu Lang fiercely and said to his assistant, promise them. We can use the 30 million yuan that we are going to invest in Qingcheng Group to contract the mine. Then he stared at Jiyu Qingcheng and said, Boss Jiyu, do you regret it? I have used your money to participate in the mining industry with higher economic value. However, I don't just have 30 million. If you want to survive this crisis, I will consider investing 80% of the shares and 100% of the equity. Agree, or go bankrupt. Jiyu Qingcheng is now deserted by everyone and is disheartened, which is almost equivalent to selling the company outright. He smiled at himself and thought that it would be better to sell it, so that he wouldn't have to work so hard anymore. But, what about Xiao Wu's debt? Just when Jiyu Qingcheng was struggling between his conscience and his desires. Who told you that my eldest sister is short of money? Chu Lang placed the bank card in front of Jiyu Qingcheng, sister, 30 million, not a cent less. Chapter 22, A Sudden Turn of Events. This card is the corporate account of Chongming Mining, and all remittance transactions are carried out on this card. When Chu Lang saw the official announcement of the spodumene mine in the news, a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. According to the timeline of the previous life, the spodumene mine, which should have been officially announced yesterday, was suppressed for a whole day. Chu Lang guessed that the authorities were most likely also thinking about it, as this was a huge piece of fat meat. Chu Lang was smart in that he only needed 1 year to gain advantage while staying within the range that the authorities could tolerate. Otherwise, it would only take a period of time to block the news and Chu Lang would be dragged to death. When others saw Chu Lang taking out his bank card, they all laughed mockingly. Jiang Wendong sneered, what is this? Your credit card. Zhang Kang added, Mr. Jiang, you are joking. How can a gambler have the credit to apply for a credit card? Jiyu Qingcheng's car was lost by this gambler, how can she have any money left? Are you still pretending? Yeah, with his credit, which idiot would give him money? No one at the scene believed that Chu Lang could come up with the huge sum of 30 million. Little did they know that the idiot they were talking about was none other than their leader, Mr. Jiang Wendong. Chu Lang had a sneer on his face, I didn't want to let you see it, but I can't bear not letting you see it. Do you have the equipment to verify the capital? Of course. Someone, bring up the capital verification computer. Since he is not afraid of death, should we be afraid of being buried? Jiang Wendong waved his hand and his men brought up a computer, which was also connected to a POS machine. The moment Chu Lang inserted the bank card, Jiyu Qingcheng's face became nervous. Xiao Wu, what are you doing? Don't worry, I, Chu Lang, never fight a battle that I'm not sure of. At this moment, the door of the conference room was opened again, and several men in suits and leather shoes hurried in. Vice President Chen? Boss Ku, you guys. Jiyu Qingcheng looked at the people coming in and suddenly panicked. These are the people and suppliers from the bank. Boss Jiyu, is the news from your boss Zhang true? We let you keep delaying the payment and loan because we trust you. Are you deliberately trying to default on your debt, Boss Jiyu? As a representative of the opinions, Vice President Cheng expressed his dissatisfaction with Gu Qingcheng. Hey, Vice President Cheng, the money is here. Just now, Mr. Gu's brother said there is 30 million here. Let's take a look together. Zhang Keng didn't believe at all that Chu Lang could come up with so much money to entertain Vice President Cheng and others. Gu Qingcheng became even more desperate. With Xiao Wu's identity, how could he possibly come up with so much money? It seems that I am really going to lose everything. Chu Lang looked around and found that everyone who should come had arrived. So I put the bank card into the POS machine and answered the call. Capital verification begins. Everyone stared at the computer screen. The data page loads. But when they saw the balance on their bank cards, they were all stunned. Balance, yuan. Har ha 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 ha. Their whole audience burst into laughter. Zhang Kang laughed wildly and wantonly. Jiang Wendong covered his forehead with his hands. Although his smile was restrained, it was even more sharp and glaring. Har har har. 10,000 yuan? Assistant Chu, is there something wrong with your eyes, or is your brain hallucinating? How did you mistake 10,000 yuan for 30 million? Vice President Cheng and the others also stared at Gu Qingcheng with cold eyes. Boss Gu, it's time to pay back the money. Otherwise, we will inform the bank to prepare for bankruptcy liquidation. Gu Qingcheng smiled bitterly and nodded. Xiao Wu, forget it. I know you want to save face. At worst we don't want our company. As long as you don't gamble, there will always be bread. Chu Lang looked at all these people and patted Gu Qingcheng's hand. Yes, the bread is available now. Then he picked up the mouse and gently clicked to refresh the interface. Zhang Kang continued to laugh. Why are you still clicking? Who do you think you are? You can get 30 million just by clicking. Oh my god. Mr. Jiang, you look quickly. When Zhang Kang saw the numbers refreshed on the computer screen, his voice suddenly became hesitant, as if he was a duck whose neck was grabbed by an invisible hand. Full of shock and horror. Everyone looked in the direction Zhang Kang pointed and gasped at the same time. Balance, yuan. A series of zeros pierced everyone's eyes. Although they had all seen large sums of money, they had never seen such a bizarre and strange scene. There was only 10,000 in the previous second, and 30 million appeared in the next second. Jiang Wendong was stunned. Gu Qingcheng was also shocked. This number is so dramatic. Jiang Wendong's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. How is this possible? It's impossible for Qingcheng Group to raise so much money in such a short period of time. Chu Lang is a gambler, it's even more impossible. Who is it? Who is going against me and dares to give money to Qingcheng Group? After Jiang Wendong was shocked, he became extremely angry. Money is the only thing that allows him to control Qingcheng Group, but this 30 million will undoubtedly make all his trump cards useless. Chu Lang smiled. What if I let you know? If you let me know who gave money to Qingcheng Group, I will tear him into pieces. Jiang Wendong was furious. He had been planning for the Qingcheng Group for a long time, but in the end, he achieved nothing. You will know. Chu Lang smiled as he pulled the card back from the POS machine, still laughing in his heart. Funds should be flowing into Chongming Mining in large quantities now. If he clicks refresh now, the amount that pops up might scare these people. However, Chu Lang did not want to be too high profile. 30 million was enough to shut everyone up. Big sister, is that right? I will transfer the 30 million to the company account right now. From now on, you can worry about anything except money. Just do it with confidence. Xiao Wu. When you find survival in desperate situation, you should cry with joy. Gu Qingcheng could no longer suppress her inner throbbing and threw herself directly into Chu Lang's arms. Warm and soft, sweet and touching. Chapter 23 Sister's Tenderness. Feeling the excitement of the person in his arms, and the joy of escaping from a desperate situation, Chu Lang felt warm and comforted in his heart. 20 years. He has been looking forward to this day for 20 years. Countless times in his dreams at midnight, he wanted to go back to today and end the starting point of everything at this moment. Fortunately, God heard his prayers and allowed him to fulfill his wish. Perhaps compared to the countless thrilling ups and downs in the business world in previous lives, today's battle is not even a tiny wave. But it made Chu Lang happy from the bottom of his heart. Chu Lang felt the soft touch of the delicate body in his arms, as well as the familiar and warm fragrance that he had not felt for a long time. His voice trembled with excitement. Sister, it's okay, everything is okay. I'm back, sister, Chu Lang, I'm back. Even if Ji Qingcheng didn't understand, Chu Lang still had to say it. He has been holding back since his rebirth. From now on, I will not allow anyone to threaten you again. From now on, I will make all threats go to hell forever. Ji Qingcheng nodded in Chu Lang's arms. She was finally sure that Xiao Wu had changed. From a ditch of hopeless stagnant water, it turned into a towering mountain that shades everything. I know. The other people at the scene felt a little embarrassed because the two of them were so carefree. Mr. Jiu. Mr. Jiu. We have offended you just now, but we also believed the slander of the villain. We didn't know that you have such a great God protecting you. Vice President Qing explained with a bit of uneasiness. With the capital injection, Qingcheng Group has been revived, and there is a bigger force backing it up, which makes Vice President Qing unwilling to give up this attractive opportunity. Chu Lang stared at him, not going bankrupt and liquidating. No, Qingcheng Group has abundant funds, how can it go bankrupt? He. Chu Lang looked at the supplier again, what about you? Let's settle the payment now and I will replace other suppliers. Don't do that. Mr. Gu, we were just confused for a moment. So, can we get 10% off on the materials in the future? You must not replace them. Chu Lang sneered, humph, that's more like it. The suppliers hated Zhong Kang to the core. It was all because of this bastard that they lost a huge sum of money. Those who wanted to resign screamed with regret. Boss Gu, we were wrong. Boss Gu, we are bewitched. I am not resigning. I want to come back to work. Boss Gu, me too, I know I was wrong. All those people who had just turned against Ji Qingcheng and criticized her were now regretting their decision. Ji Qingcheng looked at Chu Lang. She had already handed over all their control to him. Chu Lang sneered without saying any more nonsense. Roll. No. Mr. Jiu. Mr. Chu. Chu Lang didn't even bother to look at these traitors and finally fixed his eyes on Jiang Wendong. Boss Jiang, can you tell me now, am I arrogant or tough? Jiang Wendong's face turned red and his body turned white, it was a wonderful scene. Because of 30 million, all plans are messed up. If he knew at this moment that the 30 million Chu Lang had just received was from him, I wonder what expression he would have. Unfortunately, Chu Lang didn't intend to let him know. Jiang Wendong said harshly, Chu Lang, don't think you have won. I don't care where you got the 30 million from. From now on, let's have a good fight. Chu Lang smiled contentiously and pointed at Jiang Wendong. You can only play some capital tricks because you enjoy the protection of your family. If you really talk about your own ability, you are not even garbage. You are not qualified to be my enemy. You want to play with me? You are not worthy. After saying that, Chu Lang completely ignored Jiang Wendong, who was gritting his teeth in anger, and took Ji Qingcheng's hand. Let's go, big sister, the crisis is over. It's disgusting to live under the same roof with these people and breathe the air here. Staring at Chu Lang's back, Jiang Wendong said in a voice as hard as iron, Chu Lang. Our feud has ended. From now on, it's either me or you. Just wait and see. Don't talk like I'll let you go. Jiang's Chemicals only has 3 months left to live. And Qingcheng Group will become the number 1 in this city. Chu Lang's voice was still echoing, but the figure had disappeared. Jiang Wendong suddenly became as angry as a wild beast. It must be that bastard Wu Shanxi. I will never let him go. Chu Lang didn't know that Boss Wu was taking the blame for him again. He accompanied Ji Qingcheng to clean up the mess, and then deposited the funds into the account. It was already evening when he finished everything. It was past midnight and everything was quiet. The reason why Xinjiang is called Xinjiang City is because it is located on the bank of Qingyu River. At this time, by the Qingyu River, the fields are vast, the sky is low, the river is clear and the moon is near, accompanied by the chirping of cicadas and frogs. It is a very relaxing and pleasant feeling. 2 figures were sitting snuggling together beside the grass by the river. There were wine bottles randomly placed in front of him, all of which belonged to Niu. Ji Qingcheng can drink quite well, but Chu Lang can't. When Ji Qingcheng is just a little tipsy, Chu Lang is already confused. Xiao Wu, I know where the 30 million came from even if you don't tell me. It was lent to you by Boss Wu Shanxi, right? I saw that he and you are on good terms the other day. He is truly our benefactor. Chu Lang felt dizzy and his tongue was a little tied. Okay, whatever Big Sister says is fine. As long as Big Sister is happy. Being dizzy in the head but not confused in the mind, this is a skill Chu Lang has developed over the past 20 years. He would never say anything that he shouldn't say, even if he is beaten to death. Chu Lang has another arrangement over at Mariu Mountain, so it is not appropriate to tell his elder sister for the time being. Jiyu Qingcheng leaned lightly on Chu Lang's shoulder, her soft hair hanging on Chu Lang's chest, making him feel numb and itchy. There was also a faint fragrance that blew into Chu Lang's nose with the night wind and directly penetrated into his heart. The moonlight is alluring and romantic. Chu Lang could even hear his own heart beating faster and faster, and he didn't know whether it was because of the wine or the people who were intoxicated. Jiyu Qingcheng grabbed Chu Lang's hand and placed it on her leg. Under the moonlight, Jiyu Qingcheng's long legs like jade were so white that they formed a dreamy halo, which was breathtakingly beautiful. The day we left the hospital, the five of us swore to stay together forever, unless we die. I know. Although we call each other brother and sister, Xiao Wu, you should know what we mean, right? In his previous life, he was obsessed with gambling and lost his mind. He had let down all the kindness in the world. But now of course he knew. I know. Ever since you became addicted to gambling, I've been hoping that you would correct yourself. I know that my little Wu will definitely change for the better. Today, Chu Lang is the biggest hero in Jiyu Qingcheng's heart. Jiyu Qingcheng raised her head, the moonlight shone on her fair and tender face, the halo spread out, it was beautiful beyond words. Chapter 24 Great Harvest. At this moment, Chu Lang's brain completely froze. He had had many women in his previous life, including celebrities, internet celebrities, and ladies from wealthy families. He had tasted them all. However, Jiyu Qingcheng is definitely one of the deepest obsessions in his heart. But compared to her, those women were not even as good as a hair of Jiyu Qingcheng. Therefore, Chu Lang now seemed to have completely returned to his youth, the youthful and ignorant years. He was kissed by Jiyu Qingcheng until he was completely unable to think independently. After a long time, due to environmental issues, no further action was taken. Jiyu Qingcheng let go of Chu Lang, looked at Chu Lang's silly look, and giggled with her hands covering her mouth. I thought I would be awkward my first time, but I didn't expect you, Xiao Wu, to be even worse. It made me laugh to death. Thinking of Chu Lang's appearance at this moment, which was completely different from his calm and composed appearance when he was giving orders in the conference room during the day, Jiyu Qingcheng felt a sweet and funny feeling. Because there is a pure land in my heart, I will always be a pure boy. Chu Lang did not explain, but smiled. Oh, yes, it should be better next time. We'll talk about it next time. But you can't tell anyone else, especially Qian Tian. She is the most angry with you and the most stubborn. If she knew, she would definitely cause trouble for us. Jiyu Qingcheng reminded Chu Lang. Okay. So are we going to the hotel or going home tonight? Jiyu Qingcheng's pretty face flushed red, and she tapped Chu Lang's forehead. What are you thinking about? Go home. And I don't feel well today. Chu Lang then reluctantly left here and returned home with Jiyu Qingcheng. Then he took a cold shower and cursed in his heart. He thought that after his rebirth, he had mastered a lot of information, but he couldn't possibly master Jiyu Qingcheng's cycle, right? Mistake. Low-level mistake. I don't know when I'll get this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity again, so my fourth sister is keeping a close eye on me. When I came back just now, I even wanted to strip Chu Lang thoroughly before letting them go to rest. The next morning, Chu Lang headed straight for Mariu Mountain. Chongming Mining has set up an office on Mariu Mountain. As soon as Chu Lang entered, the fat man Lu Jie stood up from his chair. Brother Lang. It's amazing. You are really amazing. After the news of the spodumene mine was exposed, the mine you set up sold like crazy. We sold more than 68 million that night. In addition to the 30 million, there are still more than 38 million. Not only did we get back our investment instantly, but we also made a lot of money. And most of the interested parties are waiting and watching. As the mining progresses, it will sell even better. Lu Jie expressed his surprise like a machine gun. Chu Lang smiled and patted Lu Jie on the shoulder. This is just the beginning, we will have more in the future. Your share will definitely not be less. Brother Lang, when did you become so awesome? I am truly convinced by you. Stop talking nonsense, it's so sour. Where's the third master? Har har har. Brother Lang hasn't forgotten me yet. I thought Brother Lang would kick us away after taking this piece of fat meat. Chio-san was still wearing a tang suit and walked into the office with a smile on his face. No way. I'm just lucky. Third master is the real talent. If it weren't for third master, I wouldn't be able to transport even a bunch of leaves, let alone spargamine. Chio-san laughed out loud again, feeling relieved. When he received the news about the spargamine mine yesterday, he was in a state of shock all day. As a local, he didn't notice it. The exploration team only discovered it after several days of in-depth inspection. How did Chu Lang know? This shocked Chio-san, and at the same time, he felt a little uneasy. If Chu Lang was blinded by the interests and overturned the cooperation, it would be a bit difficult to deal with. But Chu Lang was more rational than he thought. Know better what is the maximum benefit. Fatty, go with me to check out the mines I gave you. I guarantee you can dig out spargamine. I'll hand it over to you once you're satisfied. As long as you gain a firm foothold in the mining area, you will definitely make a profit. Chio-san took a deep breath. He knew that if the mine could really be mined, a mine would make more money than a company. The previous promise was just a promise, and only after it is implemented, it becomes a friendship. Brother Lang, you are honest, and I, Chio-san, can't hide anything. You lead me, Chio-san, to make money. As the saying goes, you should obey the management of the people who feed you. Brother Lang will really be our Chio-san's Brother Lang from now on. No matter whether it is Mariu Mountain or the southern part of Xinjiang City, Brother Lang will go wherever he points his finger. Chu Lang smiled slightly. Third master, you are too polite. It's getting late, let's go to the mine to check it out. After returning from the mine, Chio-san's face was full of smiles and his joy never faded. At this pace, making 10 million a month is really easy, or even more. Fatty, from now on, you are the person in charge and CEO of Chongming Mining. My joining the company will be kept secret for the time being. If there are any inconvenient negotiations or other difficult matters, please consult with the third master. Yes, I know Brother Lang. Don't worry, Brother Lang. Fatty, if you have any problems, just tell me. I guarantee that everything will be done properly. Chio-san promised. Brother Lang doesn't want to be exposed, is there any other reason? Chu Lang sneered and said, of course, we have to make money and kill Jiang Chemical by the way. Chio-san was shocked, Jiang Chemical? Brother Lang, Jiang Chemical is one of the leading enterprises in the city, with strong strength. The Jiang family is not only ranked in the city, but also in the province. Should we take a long-term view to deal with them? Chu Lang, I said that the Jiang family still has 3 months to live. After 3 months, there will be no Jiang family in this world. Chio-san shuddered violently. Brother Lang was indeed not an ordinary person. It's not like he hadn't investigated Chu Lang. The information showed that he was a complete gambler. However, Chio-san was influenced by preconceived ideas and rejected this concept, because he trusted his own feelings more than the information. When he met Chu Lang for the first time, he was attracted by Chu Lang's calm and swift methods, and felt that this person was not simple. His feelings also brought him huge rewards. But today, he found that he seemed to have underestimated Chu Lang. Chu Lang's ambition was even greater than he had imagined. Chio-san at least realized one thing, he must never be Brother Lang's enemy. Although it seems that the gap between the two sides is still obvious now, Chio-san suddenly feels a little worried about Jiang's Chemical. Can they really hold on in Brother Lang's hands? 3 months? Stay tuned. For now, release the mines little by little. Don't rush to release them all at once. These mines will become more and more valuable in the future. Now, in addition to the purchase of equipment and public relations and other activity funds, how much money can be moved? We still have more than 38 million in our account. If we want to move the funds. The fat man scratched his head for a long time but couldn't figure it out. Chu Lang sighed. After all, Fatty was just being cautious. It was time to recruit some professional talent, otherwise Fatty wouldn't be able to hold on. Forget it, give me 3 million first. The remaining 35 million should be enough to set up our first batch of mining equipment. Don't skimp on the initial investment. Yes. After coming out of the office, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in Chu Lang's sight. It's her. Chapter 25, does this apology make sense? Tang Xiaoxia. She was wearing a plain long skirt, revealing her white ankles, long legs and thin waist, and had a pretty face and a ponytail. She looked fresh and clean, giving people a simple and comfortable feeling. Chu Lang didn't need to recall anything to think of this woman. The two were classmates in junior high school. Tang Xiaoxia should still be a newly employed intern reporter now, rather than the powerful crisis public relations queen she will be 20 years later. Later, Chu Lang's company encountered several accidents, and he entrusted Tang Xiaoxia to help him avoid danger. Chu Lang extended olive branches countless times, and even offered shares, trying to recruit Tang Xiaoxia, but was rejected by Tang Xiaoxia every time. Tang Xiaoxia's original words at the time were, "I treat you as a classmate, so I come to help. I will not join anyone's company and accept constraints. I like freedom." Chu Lang was helpless. I didn't expect to meet Tang Xiaoxia here again. At this time, Tang Xiaoxia was far from being as calm and composed as she would be 20 years later. Instead, she was hiding from the sun under a willow tree, sweating profusely, carrying a bag and holding a one-handed camera. Tang Xiaoxia. Chu Lang? Why are you here? Compared to 20 years later, Tang Xiaoxia is undoubtedly much easier to get along with now. There is no pride like 20 years later. Me, I'm here to have fun. What about you? Chu Lang was not very clear about Tang Xiaoxia's deeds before she became famous and wanted to find out more. Perhaps because she was meeting an old classmate, Tang Xiaoxia was not on guard. She wiped the sweat from her forehead and looked around helplessly. The department gave me a task to interview the president of Chongming Mining. But their president is busy and mysterious. I can't make an appointment with him, so I can only wait here. Chu Lang had just been to a few mining sites, so his clothes looked a little shabby. He also wore a straw hat to protect himself from the sun, and looked no different from the villagers. Tang Xiaoxia did not despise Chu Lang's clothes. Instead, she complained bitterly because she was very happy to meet her old classmate. Why are you interviewing their president? The boss of Chongming Mining is simply Zhuge Liang in the world. He actually got the mining rights of Mariu Mountain before anyone else. The market is very curious about him now. If we can get the details and exclusive information about his operations, it will definitely be a big deal. What a pity. How could their president accept an interview with an intern reporter like me? Never mind. Sigh. Tang Xiaoxia was frustrated and felt a little disheartened. Chu Lang touched his nose, his eyes rolled, and he had an idea in mind, so he said to Tang Xiaoxia, "Don't be discouraged, sincerity can move mountains. I believe you can do it. By the way, it's noon, it's hard for a girl like you to stay here, you haven't eaten yet, right? There is a nice farmhouse on this mountain, I'll treat you to a meal." Tang Xiaoxia was still hesitating, and Chu Lang said, "Maybe you can meet their president there." Tang Xiaoxia hadn't eaten breakfast or lunch, and was tired and hungry. Chu Lang encouraged her, so she smiled happily and said, "Okay, but I'll treat you." She saw Chu Lang was dressed in a shabby manner, and she knew that Chu Lang was an orphan, so she thought that he was not well off, so she took the initiative to ask for a treat. Mariu Mountain, a rural farmer's farmhouse. This is the only large-scale farm stay in Mariu Mountain. Business is booming today, with many businessmen coming here for the spodumene mine. The two sat down and exchanged a few words about their situation when they suddenly heard someone shouting beside them. "Tang Xiaoxia, the station sent you here to find an opportunity to interview the president of Chongming Mining, but you took the station's funds and came here for a date." I saw a woman, accompanied by 3 men, walking towards me with unfriendly looks on their faces. The woman is heavily made up and looks charming and seductive. There were 3 men, one carrying a camera and one holding a sun visor. They should be his followers. The other one was in his 30s, with a big gold chain hanging on his chest, wearing sunglasses, and faint tattoos on his arms. He looked like someone who was not to be trifled with. "Tang Xiaoxia, your colleague." Tang Xiaoxia lowered her voice and said, "Yes, it's Jian Hui, an intern reporter who came here 2 months earlier than me. But I heard that she has a strong backstage, and the station even assigned her a photographer and makeup artist. She targets me everywhere, which is very annoying. Don't mess with her, just wait and see." After introducing Chu Lang, Tang Xiaoxia said to Jian Hui, "I'm not going on a date with him. Chu Lang is my classmate and we just met by chance. I paid for his dinner out of my own pocket, without using any funds from the station. Humph, if I saw you, then of course you were a classmate, and it was just a private treat. I don't know how many dirty things you did when I didn't see you. Jian Hui is not as good looking or as good looking as Tang Xiaoxia. And because she is the only two trainee reporters in the station, she is often compared with them. Over time, Jian Hui becomes very hostile to Tang Xiaoxia. Then Jian Hui looked at Chu Lang with contempt. Tang Xiaoxia, your vision is as bad as your taste. Could it be that the boyfriend you dare not admit is a villager from this mountain? He. Jian Hui covered her mouth and sneered. Chu Lang was dissatisfied. If you can't speak, just shut up. You? Jian Hui. That's enough. You can target me, but not my classmates. Wow, you're still trying to show off to me? Tang Xiaoxia, do you know who this person next to me is? He's the brother of my uncle Chiu, brother Yulifang. With his introduction, I will definitely be able to interview the president of Chongming Mining. The only permanent position must be mine. So what if I'm targeting you? So what if I'm targeting a country bumpkin like you? What if you can get it? Jian Hui was very proud. Her family has some influence, and she put a lot of effort into this interview. What can Tang Xiaoxia use to compare with herself? Tang Xiaoxia was very angry, but her family had no money or power, and she had a younger brother who was still studying and could not give her any help. The more I think about it, the more aggrieved I feel, but after feeling aggrieved, I still feel helpless. However, her helplessness does not mean that others are helpless. Chu Lang's voice came. Chiu-san doesn't even have the ability to get the president of Chongming Mining to be interviewed. How dare he boast about this? When Yulifang saw Chu Lang, a villager, questioning him, he became furious and slammed the table. Boy, you just offended Hui, and I'm upset with you. How dare you question me? Kneel down and apologize to me and Hui now, or you won't be able to leave Mariu Mountain today. Yulifang pointed at Chu Lang's nose, extremely arrogant. Jian Hui watched with gloating eyes and said nothing. Tang Xiaoxia was anxious. Chu Lang, don't be impulsive. The other party is Chiu-san's people in the south of the city. Chiu-san is the local snake in Mariu Mountain. He is not easy to mess with. Chu Lang originally came here to conquer Tang Xiaoxia, and he was not stingy in helping her out. He was also angry because he was dissatisfied with Jian Hui and Yulifang. Apologize. Okay, I'll tell you. As he spoke, Chu Lang raised his hand and slapped him. With a slap, he slapped the fierce-looking Yulifang in the face. Does this apology ring true? Chapter 26. A phone call, a name. Everyone present was stunned. It would have been fine if he didn't know the other party's background, but Chu Lang clearly knew that the other party was Mr. Chiu Sanya's man, but he still dared to take action. This was not only an attack on Yulifang, but also a slap in the face of Mr. Chiu Sanya. And this is exactly the territory of Mr. Chiu-san. You're looking for death. Yulifang waved his fist and pretended to hit Chu Lang's head. Unexpectedly, Chu Lang's movements were even faster. He picked up two chopsticks and stopped them in front of Yulifang's eyeballs, just 2 centimeters away from piercing them. Yulifang immediately stopped moving and froze in place. You can't win in a fight. You can't win in a competition of power. A slap in the face is just a small punishment, but the current situation of Chongming Mining does not allow you to brag and show off outside. Go find Chiu-san and admit your mistake and accept the punishment. Yulifang knew that Chu Lang was very skilled and that he might not be his opponent if he was alone here, so he picked up his phone and said viciously, "Boy, just wait. I'll call my eldest brother now and make you pay." Then he turned and walked out, with Chu Lang following him. Remember to tell your third master that the person who beat you is called Chu Lang. Tang Xiaoxia said to Chu Lang nervously, "Chu Lang, why don't you leave first? If Chiu-san really comes, I'm afraid things will get out of hand. If I leave, won't Chiu-san's anger be directed at you?" A trace of fear flashed across Tang Xiaoxia's face, but she still suppressed it. "I'm a reporter, he won't do anything to me." Chu Lang developed a sincere liking for Tang Xiaoxia's kindness. It turned out that Tang Xiaoxia was much kinder now than she was 20 years later. It must be easier to deceive. So he took out a piece of paper, wrote a phone number on it, and pushed it in front of Tang Xiaoxia. "Student Tang Xiaoxia, aren't you looking for an interview with the president of Chongming Mining? Try this number." Tang Xiaoxia finally reacted. What is this?" "To thank you for treating me to a meal, this is the call from Lu Jie, the president of Chongming Mining." Chu Lang was not limited to one city or one pool. Chongming Mining was just a stepping stone, so he let the fat man be the president and he was the boss behind the scenes. Tang Xiaoshi took the note doubtfully. Jian Hui saw Tang Xiaoshi staring at Chu Lang's note and sneered, "Tang Xiaoshi, why are you still staring at that? You don't really think it's the phone number of the president of Chongming Mining? The phone number of the president is on this business card of mine. I got it through my connections." 134. Jian Hui also took out a business card and read it out in a boastful manner. It wasn't he that she shared selflessly, but that she had tried to contact him many times and was rejected. As a last resort, the family spent a large sum of money and asked Solidifying for help to see if it would work. That's how the story unfolded. She read it out just to show off and to embarrass Tang Xiaoshi and Chu Lang. However, as she finished reading the phone call, Tang Xiaoshi picked up the note. "It's really exactly the same. Chu Lang didn't lie to me." "What? How did he get Mr. Lu's phone number?" Jian Hui's voice rose, but the number on the note was exactly the same as what she had reported. He stared at Chu Lang's half-smiling face and suddenly felt that this country boy had become sophisticated. Jian Hui spent a lot of money to get the number, but it was given to Tang Xiaoshi by a country bumpkin, which made her jealous and hateful. Tang Xiaoshi also looked at Chu Lang curiously. "Chu Lang, how did you get the phone?" "A friend of mine knows someone like that. Let's give it a try. Maybe it will work." Chu Lang smiled slightly. Tang Xiaoshi dialed the phone with the mentality of giving it a try. She didn't even get the number before, but now that she got the number, at least it proves that she has a chance. "Hello, who is that?" Tang Xiaoshi's phone was on speakerphone, so Jian Hui and the others could hear it. Lu Jie's voice was busy and a little absent-minded. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Lu from Chongming Mining?" "It's me. Boss Lu, I'm a reporter from Xinjiang TV station. My name is Tang Xiaoshi. May I arrange an exclusive interview with you? I promise that I will not take up more of your time. Just 10 minutes. No. 5 minutes will do. I'm busy. Find someone else. By the way, my phone number is rarely circulated outside. Who gave it to you?" Lu Jie's voice sounded a little dissatisfied. Brother Lang had repeatedly told him to keep a low profile, but there were still many of his phone numbers circulating on the market, which made him very troubled these past 2 days. Hearing this, Jian Hui already revealed a gloating smile. Tang Xiaoshi looked at Chu Lang, and Chu Lang nodded, indicating that he should tell the truth and that it was okay. "Boss Lu, it was given to me by my classmate, Chu Lang. He had no ill intentions, he just..." "Wait. Who are you talking about?" "Chu Lang." "Lang, is he your classmate?" "Yes, junior high school." Tang Xiaoshi: "No, Mrs. Tang, classmate Tang wants to come for an interview, right? Look, can you spare some time this afternoon? Where are you now? If it's not convenient, do you need me to send someone to pick you up?" He had never been so humble in front of Chu Lang, but the fat man knew that he could joke and play with his elder brother, but he had to respect his elder sister-in-law. This was the rule of the underworld. This is also the reason why the fat man is cautious. Tang Xiaoshi was confused. What is going on? She had tried countless ways to interview the mysterious president of Chongming Mining, but failed, and now he suddenly agreed to an interview. Moreover, why does his tone sound more and more humble? If Jian Hui hadn't proved that the phone number was real, she would have thought that Chu Lang and others had teamed up to play a trick on her. Jian Hui's gloating turned into dumbfoundedness. Did Mr. Lu accept the interview? And accepted so, grovelingly? From the fat man's tone, Chu Lang knew that this grandson seemed to have misunderstood something. But the ending was good. Chu Lang quickly reminded Tang Xiaoshi, "Xiaoshi, aren't you going to be interviewed? Why are you still standing there?" Tang Xiaoshi didn't dare to ask President Lu to pick her up. After confirming the time and place, Tang Xiaoshi hung up the phone. Then I felt like I had fallen into a dream and everything before my eyes seemed so unreal. Chu Lang, did President Lu really accept the interview? What is your relationship with him? Why did he suddenly change his mind? I said I'm his elder brother, do you believe me? He. Chu Lang did not lie, but the truth was too fantastic. He admitted it generously, which made Tang Xiaoshi unconvinced. Because of her joy, her movements became more casual. She gently hit Chu Lang, "You are such a joke. You are an employee of Chongming Mining, right? Otherwise, I would not have met you on the mountain. You also have Mr. Lu's phone number. Oh, sort of. I knew it. Tang Xiaoshi felt relieved and turned to Jian Hui and said, "It seems that the chance to become a regular employee is mine." HMPH, don't be too happy too soon. Don't forget that you just beat up my Uncle Chio's people. Even if he is an employee of Chongming Mining, something bad is going to happen this time.